There's the link. Just need to share that. What's that? And there's the link sent. So for everyone playing this back, Ollie, can you turn your TV down, mate?
It's not on, mate.
Oh, is it not? I'm getting feedback from my microphone. and, so we're just waiting for people to connect to the broadcast. We are recording live. And I'm going to start off by introducing everybody to my special guest at this time to talk about the Mears Ashby 11 and seconds, first 11 and second 11s, team of the decade. And I welcome you, Chris Love, everyone. Chris, hello.
How are you? All right?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate.
That's good.
Just surviving lockdown like the rest of the country, I guess.
Are you working from home at the moment?
No, mate. I've been on furlough since March, so sticking my feet up, having a nice career break, I guess, and then hopefully work should be back to normal in June. So a couple more weeks left, I guess.
Fingers crossed for you. But you haven't exactly been taking it easy, have you? What have you been doing for Mears Ashby in the spare time?
Yeah, so I guess the question that sort of came to us was, well, how do we run a social media account on Twitter and on Facebook of a cricket club with no cricket to report on? So me and Beefy sort of got our heads together and sort of did a lot of things, trying to come up with some content to try and keep our social media pages active, really, until hopefully we've got some cricket to report on in the end of the year. So what have we been doing? We've been doing some player profiles, some lads have sent some player profiles which we've posted. We've had a game of virtual higher or lower, which is everyone's familiar with, and it's a great game that we play normally at the end of the season, and if anyone's been to a league in, then we play that, so we thought we'd have a go at a virtual higher or lower. And then we've also just been launching on this day, so we've been looking back on random days and random fixtures from 2019, and we've got some future ones booked from 2011, 12, so we're going to post and talk about what happened on this day 10 years ago, if we took the wickets, who scored the runs, and if we won or lost the cricket game. So just some little things to keep our mind active, and I guess keep the content up to date until we've got some cricket to report on.
Oh, you've been doing some great stuff from what I've been seeing. What would you like to tell the members now? What would you like them to do to help you out in getting our social media active?
Yeah, so I guess the big thing that we're running now is we're trying to come up with our first 11 and our second 11 team of the decade, so from 2010 to 2019. So we've had about 4 or 5 people send me their teams, which is great, but we really want to get to about 10 or 12 number of people that have sent us their first team and the second team of the decade. Sorry. The plan is, what will happen is, once I've got some decent nominations, I will collate all the answers and then put it to a poll. So we're sort of I will look at everyone who's nominated to, for example, to the pair to open the batting for the first team or the first 11. So whoever sent me their pair, I will post out onto social media as a poll. The top 2 will make it into our team of the decade, and the person that comes third will then go into the second poll, which will probably be who bats number 3 and 4. So we're going to try and do it in pairs. So essentially, what I need from the members is just everyone to send me their team of the decade, their first 11 and their second 11. If you can't think of a full team, send me 8 or 9 names. They have to at least played two seasons for us over the decade, but we just want a bit of an appeal, really, just to send me as many names as possible, and so I can sort of collate it and then transfer it into a poll on social media, so we can get our members and our followers and our fans on social media to vote the Mears Ashby first 11 and second 11 team of the decade.
So if you want people to come in and give you their opinion on their team, their 11 of the decade for both the first and the second team.
Yeah.
And if they haven't already done that, how can they do this?
So either WhatsApp me it or put it on me. I'm pretty sure I'm in every group in the Mears Ashby in the group so that the beef is created.
We're now in the build-up of the game. Chris, once again, thank you for joining us.
No worries, and enjoy the game.
All right, thank you very much. We'll try our best. Cheers, Chris. Bye-bye. So hello, ladies and gentlemen. There's a few in on the broadcast. Is Oliver here? Hello, Oliver.
Hello, Beefy, how are you?
Hello. Can you move your mic away from your speaker?
It's nowhere near a speaker.
Isn't it not?
No.
I'm getting massive feedback from you still. Anyway, regardless, hopefully no one else can hear that, and it's just me. Oliver, how are you today?
Not too bad, not too bad. A nice sunny Saturday and we're all stuck indoors, so hopefully we have a bit of interesting cricket to play.
It is a beautiful day out there today, I must admit, but I'll be honest, I've been out there for 9 hours today. It's not that exciting, I promise you. So it's not great at all. Oliver's joining us on broadcasting today. He's going to be my co-commentator. Chris will be popping in later on in the broadcast to give us a bit more support, so me and Ollie can have a couple of maybe some drinks breaks for ourselves. Today the teams have been announced. I'll go through the 11s of both teams. Ben's yellow 11. You've got Ryan Coles, Jamie Chamberlain, Stuart Gray, Dan Smith, Charlie Fredgold, Anthony Fugola, Chris Jasin Arachacha, Brendan Marias, Tim Shea, Jason Searle, Chris Love. And then oh, sorry, I've got the wrong team. That was Dan's Blues. I do apologise. This is not writing correct notes here. And then Ben's is Matt Hobson, Drew Patel, Mike Gunasakara. Mike Thompson's moved up the order in his only change. Lewis Coles, John Hill, Ben Cole, Sidney Fernandez, Tony Coles, Matt Hoskins and Harrison Abbott. So unchanged for the Blues, one change for the Yellows with Mike moving up from I think number 7 he was batting before. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast. We're now going to start the broadcast. Ollie.
Yes.
What are your first thoughts on the pitch conditions once it comes up?
I will let you know as soon as it pops up for me.
Confirmation of the teams on the screen at the moment for ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you can see the opening bowlers there for each team as well.
No problem. So Ben's yellow versus
crumbly and hard.
Dan's blue.
Interesting pitch.
Crumbly and hard. It's a bit interesting of obviously which captain wins the toss, and I think of obviously with it being crumbly, will a spinner come into that side? Obviously, Dan not having a dedicated spinner, but obviously against my team last week, that didn't make much difference.
Ben's Yellows won the toss and have chosen to bat. What do you make of that decision? Oh, I think I've lost Oliver at the moment. It's an interesting one with the pitch being a bit crumbly. It could be a good decision to bat first as the pitch will deteriorate as we go through the game. So it's Chris Love to open the bowling for the Blues.
Can you hear me, mate?
And to face the first ball is Matt Hobson for the Yellows. First ball straight off the mark, one down to square leg boundary.
Do you have me, Stuart Gray?
I do now, Oliver. You're back in the room. The Blues captain's just been on the line to me.
I have just seen, obviously you didn't hear what I said. So.
Ball in the air to backward point for a single to get off the ball first. Off the mark, first ball for Drew.
Obviously Dan hasn't heard me the first time, so I will say it again. Obviously with Dan not having a dedicated spinner, will that pay to him in, will that be the difference in it? But obviously against my team last week, it obviously didn't. So
I did hear on this pitch in the midweek, there was a midweek 40 over game, and the team batting first did score over 250 runs.
Interesting.
As we see 4 singles off the first 4 balls for the Yellows. Chris coming into bowl to Hobbo. And he plays it back a point. Is they going to run 2 there? Fielder goes round, comfortably cuts it off for another single. Good little start this for the Yellows.
Yeah, very good start for the Yellows. I believe they're rotating the strike nicely for them. Keeping the batsman fresh and also keeping the bowler having a cut with ideas, obviously facing 2 different bowlers.
Controversial there as Chris Love bowls one short and wide. Love into Patel, who cuts it between Gully and Slip. They've won 1. Are they coming back for 2? No, Gully gets round in time. 7 from the first over. And open the bowl in alongside Chris Love is Jason Searle. Short, Patel had a go at it. Didn't get near.
Yeah, waiting.
Oh, there was a bit of a mix-up between the batsmen. He heard a call. So Drew still on strike. Third ball of Searle's over.
Yeah.
And he cuts it away between Gully and Slip. Comfortably running 2 this time. Ooh, bit of an overthrow there. Good back him up. Searle comes in short, he ducks underneath it.
I think it would be good to speak to the captain, Dan, to see if this came up in his meeting before the game. Obviously bowling quite a lot shorter than he was at my team last week.
Just as you see him pitch one up, and it was destroyed to the barrier. Dhruv is back in the runs. Exactly what you were saying, Ollie. It looked like a tactic, and you can see why. First ball pitched up, driven behind Gully for 4. So in for his last ball.
Waiting.
Got the length better that time. 6 coming from Jason's first over. Scores 13 for none off 2. So Chris to continue from the other end.
As you can see that,
pitches it up.
as you can see that yellow ball was a lot. Sorry, Beef, as I'm on a bit of a delay to you. Obviously, you could see that yellow ball slightly pitched a bit more fuller towards the batsman to get in the 4. So, I think obviously Dan has had a word about pitching the ball a little bit shorter.
Again, tempted him though there with a foolish delivery, short extra cover. Was very much in the game, but they brought that fielder straight away out. Oh, he steps across the crease and hooks it to square leg. He pushed the pitch that from about 5 stumps outside off. So Love in, Hobson, the batsman. Short, he hooks it, it's in the air, it's safe. So with that single brings Dhruv on strike. He's on 10 runs from his 11 balls. Short again. And he managed to basically just paddle it down to the third man boundary. Looks like they're going to run around in time to stop 3. Five runs coming from the over so far. Oh, gets in a tangle. The ball, why has it not hit the stumps? Oh, unbelievable. 5 runs coming from it, 18 for none off 3. So to continue to Hobson, who plays the first one for what looked like an easy single to square leg. An overthrow, well backed up again. So into Patel. Away from it, there was a noise as it went past the back, the umpire agrees. First wicket does fall, it is Drew Patel. 12 from 13 balls. And the Blues have one of the openers.
Not sure what sort of shot Drew was trying to play there.
Talk us through what you think he was thinking.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't know if he's just trying to get his feet moving, or he's trying to rough the batsman up a bit to try and put the batsman off, but he completely stepped away from it when he could have just hooked it.
Then we see the next goal. It's Mike Sakara at the crease, continuing his great form from last week. It's a single off the first ball. How big a wicket is Mike Sakara after what he did last week, Ollie?
Mike Sakara, he won't change his game plan, so I believe you've got to get him early when he hasn't got settled. If you're not going to get him early, you will struggle to get him near the end.
So you need to get this man early. You reckon it's a big wicket to get into him now?
It is a big wicket to get into him now. You need to find that weakness quickly and take full advantage of it.
I say that, he missed times more. He seems to get an inside edge and hits himself on the pads. So do you reckon trouble the stumps or let dangle one outside off?
I would think maybe start to trouble the stumps. Obviously, seeing that would be.
And it's just been bowled! Playing the same thing again, trying to step across the stumps, playing it to the leg side. He seems to hit it with his pads. Mike G is out. You can see it here. How unlucky is that? Just flicks the stumps. Comes off everything there. What an over that was by Mr. Searle. Mike Thompson joins us at the crease. First time he's batted for the Yellows. And Ryan Coles comes in as a bowling change. The man of the hour last week, 99 not out, but with the ball he did it a wicket, I believe. So the trouble, Hobson on strike. Short, cuts it down to further. Scores 22 for 2 as Mike Thompson faces his first ball. Ryan pitches it up. It's a dot ball to square leg. What do you make of Mike G's wicket going, Ollie?
Like I was saying before, you've got to find his weakness and attack it quick. Obviously, taking Mike's wicket is a big thing, so there's a lot of pressure on Mike coming in because obviously he hasn't batted with the Yellows yet. So obviously he's now got to take in maybe a completely different role to the way he plays, where he's got to now do exactly what Mike G did last week, knuckle down and take your time.
Oddly, Ollie, Mike turned round a single to deep point just then and then defends the very next ball, which was pitched short. 3 dot balls now in a row. Mike's yet to trouble the scorers.
The running, we do know that Greg has called up a few from the second team into his team. A few younger players, a few fresher legs, so there's going to be a few gun fielders in there to potentially run them out. But then for seeing what's going on at the minute,
bit
to
of,
say terrific victory from Matt Hobson, and 200 for free.
well, Matt and Mike finally decided to do some running as Matt hit it down to deep square leg. And a bit of comical fielding really as he managed to get a 3. Jason in for his 5th ball over, and it's a dot to point.
If someone can tell me what bit we are at, would be much appreciated.
As we see the fielder throw the ball in, and that completes the 6th over. That's 28 for 2 off 6.
No problem. I've actually started back up now, just finishing the over now. So a little bit behind.
Ryan Coles is going to continue into his 2nd over. He's just started his run-up. On strike is Thompson. Puts it up, he drives it back down the ground.
Mike Thompson, but could it be the shoulder maybe playing up for him? Obviously, he did spend a whole, pretty much nearly a year or so having it obviously rebuilt. So how's he feeling?
He's just driving up the up. It's gone behind point. It's gone all the way for 4 runs. Mike has found it. It look a bit edgy, but he's moved on to 6 from 8. It's a start.
And that's the power of cyber technology, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that looked like he was
shoulder.
looks absolutely fine today. It looked like he was trying to drive it down the ground, and it went through point through an edge. What do you make of that, boys?
Gunnar Sakara would have caught it.
Gunnar Sakara did pull off an absolute worldie last week. It's the start of his good day, but he didn't trouble the scores today. He only got 1 from his 3 balls. Hobson now on strike to Ryan.
Yep, waiting.
Pitches it up. Oh, a bit of confusion between the batsman, a yes and a no call at the same time. End up just not running for it at all. Not bad over so far. 5 off the 4 balls good bowled.
Yeah, wait there.
Short and they don't take a single down to 3rd man. Interesting choices of running these 2 pairs. Do you reckon they're not confident with each other? Do you reckon Matt and Mike need to have a bit of a serious chat about how they're going to sort out their running?
I don't think there's much impact early days, but certainly you would expect them to try and just trickle a few odd singles. And to be fair, I don't believe these 2 have probably batted together an awful lot.
Just seen him run a quick 2, 7 for the over, 35 for 2, off 7. We have a change of bowling. Jason is out of the attack, and Brandon Marias is coming in. The steady right arm medium fast bowler. First ball's driven in straight up point for a dot. Mike Thompson's on strike for Brendan's 2nd ball.
Wait there.
Once again, it's a dot ball as the inner ring on the offside is quite tight. Chris, did you hear our conversation with Mr. Love earlier?
I did not. Anything interesting discussed?
Oh, we was talking about social media, and in particular, he, as we see another dot ball, in particular, he was talking about the team of the decade that we're doing through Twitter.
You also don't want to hear what he said about you.
As we see a single to deep square leg off the 4th ball over.
I'm sure I can rewind it back and have a look.
It's definitely worth listening. For those joining us late, go back, have a listen. We'll talk about Team of the Decade, how you can nominate your teams of the decade, both for the 1st team and the 2nd team. That's inclusive of the 2010 to the 2019 season. We're going to talk about that a few more times as we go through the game, as we see Brendan's last ball go over to Mike Thompson. Pitched it up, he's hit it in the air, but comfortable. 3 from the over, it's 38 for 2, off 8.
Beefy, what about I know I'm going a little bit big here, but what about the viewers that obviously are not members of the cricket club? How can they obviously maybe not get involved, but maybe find out a little bit more about the club if they're interested in maybe starting a new sport and getting outside after all this is finished.
I'll answer that in a moment as Chris Love comes back into attack for Ryan Coles.
Wait.
Now first ball was a dot. If they want to get involved with the club, all we've got to do is get in contact with us. There's many means to get in contact. Just get in contact with the members, and the members will put you in contact of how you can actually be come along to training. As Chris Love bowls the second ball, and it's driven, and it's cut off well fielded there, no runs. Ollie?
Yes.
I can still hear my own voice in an echo through your microphone somehow.
Not entirely sure how that's happening. Say again?
Hello? That's
Hello?
better. I can't hear myself. Oh yes I can.
That's what insanity does to you, Beefy.
It does. I
Makes
can
you
hear
start
my
hearing
echo
things.
and it's... Can anyone else hear
I
me
know.
echo or is it just me?
Hopefully just you.
We apologise, ladies and gentlemen. Beefy is feeling the side effects of
Working?
a can of Stella that went bad. He drank last night, and he's currently hearing his own echo.
Chris Love bowls, pitches it up, and Mike Thompson plays it into the onside for a single. Hobson on strike for the last ball of the over. Pitches it up, Ethan, and he hits it on the pads, nothing going. One from the over, a good tight over there by Chris.
The
39
one
for
thing I
2
will note, looking into this game, is a big improvement from Greg Rees on his fielding placements. This game, very
Greg Rees,
tight.
This is
nice
this is
at the back.
Dan Smith's team.
How is it? Although he's playing decent fielding positions, then was a little bit surprised after watching last week.
Brendan continues to Mike Thompson as a dot off the first ball.
But going back to that very
Ollie,
compact
can you
and very
unplug your mic and then plug it back in again, please?
No problem.
As you see the second ball, it's hooked around the corner to square leg. Someone gets around from mid-wicket, and I believe it's only a single.
Can you hear yourself still?
I can... yes.
Well, be quiet then.
Brendan
Why hear yourself
comes
then?
in to bowl the third ball of the over. Hobson on strike.
Waiting.
Stop it.
I'll be back in a minute. I'll see if I can try and sort something out.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Do appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah, not a lot of runs coming from these overs. There is the risk, obviously, of a few boundaries with the field so tightly compacted, but plenty of cover on the offside and the leg side, just square of the wicket. As these two batsmen struggle to pick up the run rate, with the run rate now dropping below 5.
And it's played just over 4, but a quick 2 just there for Monsieur Hobson. Brings his score from 17 from 21. He's coming along nicely. He's getting there slowly. Mike's faced the same amount of balls to 11, so you can see where maybe Mike needs to pick his game up a little bit. As we see the next ball, a single down the ground by Matt Hobson. It's completely over. And that's... oh, it looks like they ran... sorry, they ran 2 in the end. 5 in the over, 44 for 2 or 10.
Is that any better, Stuart Gray?
Hello, Ollie.
Hello.
No, it's not. It's definitely yours,
Well-
by the way.
I've just changed headsets, so there's something wrong with yours.
Oh, okay. That's not good. Let me change it. Chris Love continues. I'm changing my headset as Mike Thompson gets a 4.
Well, as we just heard, the equivalent of cricketing breakups, where it's not him, it's Beefy. Another terrific 4 there, just off square leg, off the leg, beautifully done. Score now 48 for 2.
Mike gets bored of sticking around, so he's hit out. He hit over the top. And it's
Now that's gone for a
runs.
boundary. Some poor placement from the fielder there. Tried to deflect it away, but not quite getting his footwork in the right position. Poor spatial awareness.
Back-to-back 4s from Mike brings his confidence bar into the green, though, Chris. He's now 19 from 24 balls.
Yes, and that is a dangerous place for Ben's team to be. with Mike Thompson feeling confident. If he's feeling confident, normally he scores boundaries, and if he scores boundaries, he scores centuries.
Could this
We
be
all
a mark
remember
straight
his
by?
glory season 2 seasons ago, where he finished as the top scorer for Mears Ashby. And if he's in a similar vein of mood today, it could be curtains.
Waiting.
See a dot ball in the fifth ball the over. Chris has still got one ball left in this over too. He's dropped below 80%. It shows that there's a little bit of there's not a lot of pace in this pitch. We've seen these two openers get way above the 85 on a regular basis. Chris bowling the
Wait
last
there.
ball. It is a dot ball though. He's only gone for 9. It's 53 for 2 off 11.
Yeah, good comeback to finish the over there. Only 9 coming from the over when you thought that was going to be a little bit more expensive. And not a lot wrong with the over, just a couple of balls too short and too wide of the wicket, and that's where the 2 boundaries came from.
Brendan's continuing at the other end as Mike takes the first ball for a single down to third man. Hobson is going to be looking to increase his confidence surely in the next couple of overs, but as an opener he's taking his time here, rightly so I think. Short and he ducks underneath it, that's got to be one for the over. So these two are moving on to a nice little partnership. I believe it was 20, they've scored 30 runs off of 6 overs, so they're around about 5 of those. For openers, that's not bad, Chris.
No, that's not a bad foundation. The difficulty is that they're 2 down. If one of these two go shortly, then it could be them well on the back foot.
Brendan continues and it's driven into the offside for a dot. So do you want to talk us through what do you reckon Ben's reasoning is moving Mike from batting at number 7 last week and didn't get a bat, coming in cold and now moved up to the important position of number 4 in the batting lineup?
Well, I can only assume that he's seen something he likes in the net, and that's encouraged him enough to maybe a small change of technique has encouraged him that he can see off the opening spells if need be, and continue to rotate the strike. I can't see any other reason other than that. I assume the logic from being so low down last week was to try and get some early runs, some runs in at the end. We do know you can whack the ball about a bit when push comes to shove. But that may be another consideration, perhaps, that he didn't get back. He didn't get to take advantage of Mike's power hitting.
Well, Jason Souls just replaced Chris Love bowling. First ball was pitched up in the air. No one's backing up and it hits. Oh, what's going on? No idea what happened there. It looks like Jason didn't get to his stumps when he was throwing his toys out the pro. He's got 2 wickets. He should be over the moon. The wicket taker is in for his second ball though. And it's short and it's ducked.
Yeah, Wise moved to replace Love with Purcell there. A little bit of a change angle. Obviously, the left-hander coming in across the batsman could give them a couple of problems, and with 2 wickets already, it's surprising he wasn't on for longer on his original spell.
He's also mixing up the ends by the looks of it. Jason opened the bowling from the opposite end to where he's bowling now.
Which is surprising. Why would you not bring him back on the end that he's done so well on? It looks like he's now going up the hill, and it's going to be harder work for him, whereas down the hill seems to be working perfectly, and the 2 for 14 so far, check 2 for 16, makes absolutely no sense to me. Ben's been having a bit of the old brains ale lately.
Looks like Hobbo just edged it through what would have been around about second slip. Ball's been thrown in hard. Back to Jason again. Get to your stumps, I think they're shouting out there, as both batsmen have moved into the green on the confidence bar. Thompson on strike, 22 from 28. It's the last ball of the over comes in. It's pitched up. It's driven straight at the fielder. 3 coming from Jason's over. It's 58 for 2, 13.
Well, not bad. I won't be too to they can keep the run rate down. That's one of the the difficulties with the tight field, and it
do have a
requires
change of bowling,
more
Chris.
fielders to be out and round.
Pagola comes in, he's coming into the
Waiting.
attack. It was devastating. I think in his first over last week, he got 2 wickets in his first over. Already up to 87.5 miles per hour. He is coming in rapid today. He's the man in form with the ball for the Blues. Hobson is on strike, so Pagola versus Hobson. Ball number 2. And it's edged! And he's got to be out. The umpire gives him out. Matt Hobson is out of here. 22 from 33 balls.
Well,
And once
excellent
again-
bowl.
Yes, indeed.
Excellent bowling there from Pagola. Played the slower ball, seemed to just catch Hobson by surprise. Threw the bat a little bit too late there, trying to compensate for it. And that's the end result, an edge through to Gully, and he's on his way for 22. Terrific catch there from Chris Love, and Hobson will be gutted.
Definitely. He made a good start with a 34-run partnership in about 7 or 8 overs. But we've got a new batsman at the crease. It's Lewis Coles. He's just facing up now. Bowls the same ball. It's edged. But there's no slipping place. It's gone down to third man for what I believe is a single. Excellent bowling this by Pagola. Again, making a difference in his first over of the game.
Yep.
See the 4th ball hit down to third man by Mike Thompson. That was an excellent little partnership brewing there for the Yellows. They moved their score on quite nicely. Was it 34 runs in the space of 9 overs, and they're just about gelling and starting to push on, but you felt at any moment. As for Go's last ball, he brews it in short. Coles hooks well down to the fine leg boundary for a comfortable single.
Very well played there from Coles. Could very easily got cramped up and top edged that. But back to your point, yes, it was the potential of a good partnership making, but I think the story of this will be that 20s do not win a game, and if they do go on to lose this, it will be left. A lot of batsmen will be taking a cold, hard look at themselves and thinking, I'd have concentrated for a bit longer. I could have been the one to go on to make 50, possibly even 100, and won this game for our team.
Indeed.
As it is now 63 for 3, well on the back foot now.
Jason carries on as he
Wait there.
bowls the next ball. It's gone in the air. They seem to have a leg slip and a backward square leg into place. So I think Coles was trying to angle it between them to the vacant boundary between fine leg and deep square leg as he comes in for his second ball. He's going to try the same thing again.
Waiting.
Pitches it up. It's a dot straight to point. I agree with you though, Chris. The people that make starts in this game have to kick on and get 50 plus scores, and they're going to be the difference maker. We know the pitch is going to be crumbly. We know it's also hard. It's
Waiting.
going to be difficult to score runs on this pitch, I think.
Interesting length here from Searle, playing back of a length and forcing the 2 onto the back foot here.
Ooh, interesting to say that. The pitch is run up 91.8 miles per hour. Hits Lewis on the full. Seems to be blocking there or trying to glide it down to that third man boundary. Mistimes it a little bit, but that was rapid there by Jason.
Houdini Searle full of surprises.
Wait
Terrific
there.
little full ball there.
It's an excellent over so far from Jason. 5 dot balls in a row. Lewis is on 2 from 6. It's early days. He's just trying to get his eye in at the moment, but Jason's not making life difficult. A little bit of a loose ball there, and you see it straight at point, and looks like Pagola couldn't quite handle it off the one bounce. Jason coming in now to bowl his last ball, the 15th over.
Questions Diego full. Diego just back of a length again.
And again, a good length that time. It's 6 dot balls for Jason. It is a maiden. It's 63 for 3 on 15.
Well, terrific over there. And again, as we see there, just ball back of the length and mixing it up with a full ball to catch them, to catch the
Wait
batsman Coles by surprise there. Terrific over.
Pagola continues from the other end. First ball was a dot, just defended into the offside. Second ball coming in. Can he pick his second wicket? Pitches it up, and he's gone airborne. There is a fielder out there, but he might have got enough on this, and it does. Oh, didn't quite reach the boundary. One bounce, 4 runs from White. 29 runs now from 33 balls. Is he going to attack the fast bowlings of Fregola here?
Certainly looks that way. Didn't quite get a hold as it goes towards the extra cover boundary. But fortunately, the field's so tightly up at the minute, it didn't make any difference. And this does put a question in Dan's mind: does he start to bring some of the field round to cover that extra point region?
Indeed, as we see him get bowling into the pitch, Mike takes a single down to third man. Lewis now on strike, struggled in the last over a little bit with Jason's pace, but more pace here from Fregola. 91.1 miles per hour, defends the first one sensibly. Good ball that one by Antoine.
Yeah, potentially looking at the field, potential for maybe bringing third man up and then bringing the extra man into the extra cover boundary perhaps.
He's actually pitched it short. He's managed to turn it round on the hook down to fine leg to get to rotate the strike. Not a bad over here for the batsman so far. 6 coming for it, and the last ball is Fregola bowling at Thompson.
Wait.
And it's a dot ball. 6 coming from it. 6.93 off 16.
Another good over to there from Fregola, apart from just the one ball, just in the half volley position for Thompson to have a crack at. But other than that, not a lot wrong with that. And as I said, that one shot nearly bore through. Thompson not getting a hold of it. Run rate down to 4.31 per over.
The run rate's low, but we saw this with the I believe it was with the yellow team last week, where they started very slowly, and when they picked it up they really did get going, completing it. I know they didn't get the winning runs until the last over, but you never felt it was really out of control. There was never out of control, so maybe their timing it is the same. We know the pitch is hard, we know it's going to crumble. Third ball of Jason's over to Lewis Coles, and he gets off. I was going to say he's getting off strike, but they run a 2 down to deep square leg boundary. Lewis now on 5 from 13.
The difference, I would say, though, to last week is that they had a lot of wickets in hand last week, so were able to take it onto the attack. We've seen with 2 varying pitches last week that 6 and over was pretty much the standard. It concerns me that if they don't get it moving soon, they're going to fall far behind and make this easy pickings for Dan's team.
Jason bowling at Coles. As he plays an excellent shot behind square leg. It's got the legs, it's gone all the way. That's Lewis's first boundary. Now taking the score for 9 from 15 balls. 6 coming from the over, and there's 1 ball left to go. So Jason Knight got a maiden in his last one, and bowling the same sort of areas, I think, but maybe a little bit straighter, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, take nothing away from Lewis Coles there. Terrific placement. Just use the pace, the 87 mile an hour pace, to just guide that to the boundary. Yeah, I'd agree with you. Maybe a little bit too straight and a little bit too full there from Sir.
Jason needs to get the last ball right with his 6th over now. 75 for 3 from 17. Jason, the guy who's taken the wicket so far, has already bowled 6 of his 8 overs, as we see a change at the other end. Fregola's out of the attack, Ryan Coles is back in. One of the men of the moment from last week, but that was with the bat. Can he do anything with the ball as Thompson's on strike? He bowls it, and he plays and misses. Maybe this is the key.
Well, we will see. Little bit of a wide one there from Coles, nice and full and outside the off. Very well played. Slower coming in at 78 miles an hour. Seemed to deceive Thompson all ends up as he played way too early.
Oh, indeed. It's second ball got into mid-wicket. It's a good start from the 18th over. This is Ryan's 3rd as he comes in again against Thompson. Pitches it up. He drives it into the covers. Should be able to stop it going for 2 as he had to run behind and chase that. So now we've got an interesting scenario. Coles versus Coles. Who's going to be the fixer this time? Ryan's running in. Lewis is on strike. He's pitched it up, and he's played a beautiful shot there through point. There's a guy on the boundary on the sweep. Cuts it off for a single. I'm going to quickly apologise to anybody that's talking to me on the chats or the comments. I'm having a bit of difficulty with the chat devices at the moment, so I'm not being able to keep up to date with them. Ryan bowls the next ball.
Yep.
It's full. Thought about running, changed their minds for a dot ball. So if I'm not responsive to anything on the chats, I do apologise. I will get round to sorting it out over the next 2 or 3 overs. Ollie's still having problems with his mic issues, so it's just myself, Beefy, and the legend himself, Mr. Beaton, as it's now 77 for 3 off 18.
Indeed, another good, very good over there from Ryan Cole's his brother, and indeed Mike well at bay there, not tight, all play around.
Chris, you seem to be breaking up on me. Are you there?
Wait there.
I am here, Beefy. Can you hear me loudly?
That's a lot better. I do apologise if anyone else had lost Chris for a second there. Brendan's back into the attack. This is his 4th over. He's replacing Jason. This is Brendan's 4th over. As we see Lewis go in the air, 1 bounce and 4. There was no fielder on that side. It seemed like a safe shot. Played it well. 14 from 19 is New Bend. These two are now doing a bit of a good job. The last few overs have actually started picking up every now and again here, Chris.
Yeah, do have to feel a little bit of the ball is not getting.
Chris, you sound like a robot. Can anyone on the chat tell me if they can hear Chris or they can hear what I can hear, and that's the robot Chris. As Brendan comes in again, it's played over the top of Gurney, but third man comes round and cuts it off for a single, I believe.
See if we could give some insight now. In short, Beefy, I think it's more the bowlers rather than the batsmen. Need to tighten up their lines outside that off stump. Gives a very easy shot to nothing over the top on the of the field, up on and around the offside.
Agree with Chris there. As we see the flip over being bowled by Brendan. It's to Mike Thompson. It's another dot ball. Into the body seems to be the way forward. Seems to be a lot of dot balls there. It's just when they get it wrong, going down the leg side, the batsman seems to be free.
Seemed a very sloppy shot there. Didn't seem to get shape right at all there, Thompson. Seems to be able to get
and he just as we thought, the wicketkeeper seemed to gamble on the type of ball that Brendan was bowling. Right back to it and tried to cut it, and Tim takes an absolutely unbelievable catch.
What foresight there from Tim J. Absolutely incredible. They have played that down third man perhaps once too often, and Thompson goes to once too often there. And they exactly what was there with the ball and pulls himself round and takes an absolute stonker of a catch. Absolutely terrific fielding there, and wicketkeeper from the Wily veteran.
That ended Brendan's over as well. They were doing, they did have an okay over. Taking 2 for 4. There's an appeal which seems a little bit half-hearted. It was not interesting at all. That was Ryan Cole back into the attack, staying in the attack, bowling against his brother there. The new batsman's John Hill, as we see Ryan coming with his second ball of his 4th over.
Well, I'm sure
it's hit in the air. Oh, the sweeper doesn't come round. I think this brotherly rivalry is affecting them both here.
Indeed, Lewis wanting to get on with his brother early and assert his dominance as the alpha brother of the pack, with another shot over the top there. This time playing a little bit more sensibly, trying not to get a little too carried away of himself, and in fact he wouldn't get too carried away with his John, showing the contrast to the two batsmen batting at the minute.
We just had a no ball called from that last ball from Brian. John kind of tried to don't know what he was trying to do. Let's see right replay of him overstepping. Massive overstep. I think we should check the bookies there to make sure nobody's doing anything naughty. As the next ball will be a free hit. This is John's third ball. He's yet to be off the mark. Easy opportunity to score some runs.
I think the adjudicators might be getting involved there.
So plays it for a single down to long off. Well, sorry, can you repeat that, please?
I was going to say that looked very dodgy. I think the adjudicator might be getting involved with that. One thing to overstep the mark, but that was a full triple jump over the line.
Yep.
Very suspicious. I wonder if Billy Druce has been having a little word with young Ryan Cole. You see a little
I hear that they've been in regular conversation.
Indeed.
5 runs so far, 10 on the lines. Fourth over with ball to go. Lewis is on strike and he plays it into the covers. And looks like mid-off will get round and cut it off with just a single. 6 runs coming from it, 88 to 420.
Now good over there again. Over just the 5. And again, just singles and twos taken from the 2 batsmen there. Run rate now 4.4 per over, although you've got to think with the current wickets at the minute this could get very messy at any moment for Ben's team. Needs these two to stick around for a little bit and build a partnership.
There's an edge, and there's another wicket. Sorry to interrupt you, Chris, but Brendan gets Lewis Coles, the guy that was in, starting to play some big shots, and he seemed to get in a tangle with the short ball and caught behind.
Well, firstly, you see what happens when the players don't listen to a word system. The only disappointment there for me is that it wasn't Ryan Cole's bowl. If only it was at the other end. But again, a terrific shot there from Brendan. And again, Ben's team do not seem to be able to play these short balls. Another terrific there for Shea, thinking of the real position as well. Now up to the captain Ben Cole to try and do the situation and play a captain's innings of the ages here in the 20th over. As for those of you at home, we've just seen a little dab into mid-wicket for no run there.
Bowling now, Ben. Can he get the captain? 2 new batsmen at the crease as Ben gets off the mark for a single. 5 wickets down around in the 21st over, Chris. Do you reckon they could even bat out their overs at this rate?
I am somewhat doubtful. Well and truly in the dog tank, and the sharks of Brendan and Ryan will be smelling blood here and circling their prey, no doubt. As we see a little dab into fine leg for just the 1 run into the last ball of the over.
And another wicket, is that? No, it's a bum ball. I'm sorry to get excited, ladies and gentlemen. I get far too excited too quickly. It looked like a wicket. He played it into the pitch. Even the cameramen weren't interested in that one. I do apologise. But it's 90 for 5 off 21.
The speeds these bowlers can bowl, it can deceive your eye, but another terrific ball there from Brendan. There will be a variation of line and length there, and it paid dividends. Just batsmen just not settled at all.
Ryan continues yes, as he continues his 5th over now for Ryan. On strike is Ben Cole. It's the captain. It's the prize wicket. Captain's always the prize wicket in any team. Coming into bat at number 7. He needs to dig his team out of a hole here.
Yeah, well, you look to your captain to set the tempo and the mood for the rest of the game. So a cheap wicket and morale could very quickly drop in the dressing room. The white flags could be going out very quickly. Indeed, with Ben Cole, we know typically has a bit of a tendency to be very one-dimensional, very much a hit-out, get that sort of player. And if we're not the sort of person you want in the situation where it's 92 for 5, you would hope he's gained some maturity compared to the previous season. Although I reckon that fiery Welsh blood of his will come out and he will try to go firing to the boundary. in this situation, anything could be personally very quickly.
I reckon the one thing that stood out for me so far is the blue team seems to be fielding fantastic for this game.
Well, as I said earlier, the captain seems to have plans set very well. We started to bring more of the field out now, but in the early stages, as I said, rather than typically some captains will have their fielders around the very edge of the fielding markers, Dan's gone slightly more aggressively and sought to bring the field in even tighter. Now that has the risk, obviously, of the batsman being able to go over the top for easy fours. However, it has bled dry on the singles, and that's forced the mistakes that caused them to be far down. And as you say, to make up for the less time and reactions, the team have really gelled together well and given their all to try and bleed those runs.
As we just see, a no ball was given off the last ball by Brendan, and overstepped by a bit, not quite as much as Ryan's earlier. The umpire has signalled free hit. John Hill was on strike. It's the second free hit. Surely he's got to go for a big 4 or 6 here to just up the rate a little bit. And he plays it in, and he just dabs it into the leg side for a single.
Well, someone please explain the rules to John Hill. Yeah, free hit there, no chance of getting it. Do not understand what he is doing, trying to take a deep single there. Absolute waste of the ball.
As we see in Ben cuts it down to third man, and I think we're happy with the 2 balls that in. Oh, Greekers.
Possibility 3. No.
Oh, another no ball. The second no ball of the over. I did not notice that being signalled. Going round the wicket, he overstepped by a bit there. And it's another free hit. This time it's Captain Cole on strike. What happens here?
Well, I'm sorry. If you're 5 overs in, you should know your run-up. That is just inexcusable from Britain.
The only reason why I would excuse it is the fact that he's taken 2 wickets in his previous 2 overs. So a lovely little spell this. Can he finish it? 3 balls left in this over. He's already bowled 5. He's already bowled 5 balls. So that was the 4th legal, 6th, including the 2 illegal balls of the over. And then there's a fielding change, Chris.
Indeed. Field set with and going out into the third man region. You were to cut that third shot off on his team and to try and force them to play more in front of the wicket and perhaps more in the front first, and again force some of the mistakes to get these last 2 of what we imagine are the last 2 recognised batsmen.
Well, they've managed to get a single off the last ball of the over. Brings up 100 for the team. It's 100 for 5 of 23. 7 come from it. A little bit pricey, but surely this is past where the Yellows wanted to get to 100 runs.
Indeed. And when you say to bring up the 100, at this point they'd have been hoping for 100 partnerships rather than 100 between 5 of them. This is not what wins games, I'm afraid. And you just see the head of Hill completely going to pot. I don't know what he is doing there, completely out of shape. Looked to be going for about 3 stumps outside the line and creeps under his back through to the wicket keeper.
No, I was literally just about to say the same thing. It was and then back to a textbook shot. Surely these batsmen need to get their confidence bars up to green. For those that are not aware of the confidence bars underneath the player's name, they're both currently orange or red at the moment.
Well, the other alternative is that Specsavers are doing a 2-for-1 offer, and perhaps something these two could consider.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. They came together at 88 for 5. Only 14 runs have come off these overs so far since they've been at the crease. And that's a lovely shot there. Oh, that is... If you want to teach youngsters how to drive the ball, show them that clip again and again and again. Beautiful shot before between point and cover. As we see a replay. Oh, beautiful.
Just seeing that myself on that screen, and terrific shot there. Absolutely plumb out of the middle of the bat and perfectly bisects the 2 fielders. What more can you say? Beautiful.
Waiting.
As we follow it up a bit. couldn't do nothing about that. It was just an excellent cricket shot. We're talking about the batting lineups a minute ago, and Ben coming in at 7. Number 8 is Sydney. He's a recognised batsman within this Blues team. So there is someone else who can bat. As we see a big shot from John. One bouncing 4 over point. Ends up being an excellent over. 10 runs called from it. It's 110 for 5 of 24. After that, we have got Tony Coles, who's the bowling all-rounder, and the second bowling all-rounder for the team before we get into number 9, 10 and 11. So there is a little bit of batting left to come, Chris. How long do you reckon they'll leave? I was about to ask how long do you reckon they should leave it if they're pushing on. 10 runs from the 24th over of the game. Most teams would take that short.
I'm not convinced that they have formally gone for attacking it. I think that's just John Hill losing patience. You saw it a few balls ago with the rash shot he completely played and missed, and I don't think Dan will be too worried about that. Let him have these boundaries. Eventually he is going to make a rash mistake at this point. I think his head's completely gone.
Obviously Brendan coming in for his 7th over. Bit of a mystery there, but no worries, there's no question about taking some. John's confidence is up into the green. We've seen again and again people have made, there's been quite a few starts. Hobson got to 34, Thompson got to 24, Matt got to 22, Mike got to 31, Lewis got to 19. Their confidence was growing and growing and growing. They were into the green and then they got out. So is this where you need to concentrate more on that? Looked like a massive no ball. Even I saw that from up in the from the commentary box. And I promise you, it's not a great angle from it. Massively overstepped there, Brendan. That's his 3rd one in 2 overs, isn't it?
Well, someone please get the steward ads on this. Please get someone involved. I'm sorry, I can't believe these are legitimately balls. A man that's 6 overs in, bowling 3 no balls from the 5th to the 7th overs. I'm sorry, that just does not sit with me at all. I'd be calling for an inquiry after this game, having a look at the betting practices.
I think
you have been betting on no balls.
Other than that, it's been a very tight over so far from Minden, from his 4 legal balls. They've all been dot balls so far, but surely that's got to be something that the captain's got to have a word with him after the game. Look, mate, tighten this up. You've been a bit costly for us. As we see a great shot by Ben between point and Gully. 4 runs. Just strayed a little bit, Chris.
Yeah, a little bit of. Not convinced with quite the spot that was looking to be placed. It looked like he was trying to place that through cover, just to get a glance off the bat into the gap. Nonetheless, he'll take that quite happily.
I'm trying to sweat my
But back to your point, although this is bearing through to the minute, these rash shots these two are playing. It's not what you should be doing in this situation. You should be looking at just consolidating, throwing the wickets. I know you say they've got 2 recognised batsmen. These days, everyone seems to be around her, and if they were recognised batsmen, they would be in the top 5. If they get past these 2, then Dan will very weaknesses to just mop up.
Mr. Fagola back into the attack. He was the man to break up a partnership early when he got Hobson back in the 14th over. Only his 3rd over of the game so far. First ball was a single down to mid-wicket, and now he comes in to take what would be a big scalp with the captain of Ben Cole. He plays him sensibly into mid-wicket again. Up into the 90s bowling wise, he takes wickets. Why only his 3rd over, do you think?
Well, I've been noticing this a bit with the bowler. Dan seems to be looking to chop and change, for variation and not letting these 2 batsmen get comfortable. Also, just to keep rested. 80 miles an hour takes a lot out of him, puts a great drain on the body. So if he continues to use she's 90 miles an hour, almost as an enforced type role, then that will no doubt bear fruit if partnerships being broken, such as this one.
Cole showing arms to Gola's last ball there. He's got the ball back in his hand though quite quickly. And to bowl the 5th over. Ben on strike, 11 from 19.
Indeed.
Short, he's hooked it, it's in the air. It doesn't quite carry down to fine leg. That was a dangerous shot, but goes for a single.
Well, Ben Cole does like to play in extremes after playing the first leave of his cricketing career and decided to follow that with a very rash hook shot that perhaps would have been better served ducking out of the way. He seemed to catch that very late in the island.
It's the end of Pagoda's over. It's third of the
And
match.
then just a
26.
frankly stupid lead. He seems to be all out. Seems to be all angles of hypotheses, triangles.
You've got to change your bowling, Chris. Dan Smith's into the attack now. He's coming round the wicket. Captain versus captain. Blue versus yellow. First ball's a single down the ground to long off. Chris, I'm going to have to leave you for just 2 moments because I'm having problems with my mic and a little bit of techno. So to ensure there's no interruption of the feed, I'm just going to have to leave you. I will be in the room, but I won't be able to talk. So it's all down to you, Chris. We'll sit down by the second.
Yep.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, like my love life, I am alone. And we pick up here in the 26th over with Ben's team, 120 for 5, very much on back foot at this point. But these two starting to pick up a couple of runs. Ben Cole not looking particularly for the minute. John Hill seems to be willing to get big, moving to attack. You know that drive up in the air there. Perhaps if we were earlier into this innings, that could have spelled curtains for him. But with the field now back, safely in, and they take 2 there. There's Dan Smith again, playing to his captain. And again, aerial shot being played. Very risky business. These two seem to be struggling with timing somewhat. You do have to wonder, are we going to look to bring in someone short just to pile on the pressure a little bit? The 5th ball again. We're seeing going down just in front of the wicket again, just the single being picked up there. Runs coming off this over just in odd singles and twos. I don't think they'll worry Dan Smith at this point. A few errors that perhaps show signs the wicket is coming in. The ball crashes for 6. Wine 79 meters back, and rip shot out of the middle. As we just see the replay, just gone, just to be just placed in the slot outside off stump, and the batsman just to open up a little bit and ease the pressure of the end of the over there. 130 for 5 off the 27th over. Run rate up to about 4.81 runs per over. And Cole facing now on 16. And just a little dab there. No, they take 1 there. As a projected total about 192. We've seen in previous games of variety of pitches that 240 seems to be the pass score, and perhaps this could prove the case. Although they're crumbling the pitch, batsmen don't seem quite know how the bounce is going to lie. Is it going to be true and fair? Perhaps this could be a defendable total. Time will tell. 2 coming from this over so far. And straight back there, straight into his his partner John Hill. I'm sure he'll be very thankful for that when he wakes up in the morning with a nice little cherry bruise on his hip there. Again, 2 coming from this over, the ball just outside off stump, and Cole there just looked to play a drive. And no run coming off there as it goes straight to the man at extra cover. There'll be a pressure still being built up from Fregola here, who has been in, quite frankly, terrific form. Yes, 3 wickets in his previous game, but a very tight economy rate, and seems to be the case again here today as another dot ball passes through to the glowing frustration of the final Welshman, Ben Cole. Drive and a little bit of an edge, and he's bowled. Well, defence never was Ben Cole's forte, and it proves so. I think to go, it's a terrific ball of length, some off stump, and Cole just did not know what was going on there. A terrific ball, great to see that from multiple angles, or rather you've seen it from multiple angles. End of the over there. And now we start going to, as our co-commentator Beefy described there, the bowling all-rounders as Sydney Fernandez comes out to bat in the 28th over. A lot of pressure on them.
First ball, John manages to hit the ball through his wicket off Dan Smith as he comes on to his second over. What a wicket that was. It seemed to be outside off stump, Ben just defending his line, and it nips off the seam by the looks of it. Do you agree with that?
Yes, well, like Princess Leia of the Imperial Empire with Obi-Wan Kenobi, John Hill seems to be the only hope for this team, and he looks to be looking to play his part well with another terrific boundary just there.
Well, John's taking his score at 29 from 25 balls after that, the last couple of overs, as John defends that next ball there. That partnership between Ben and John was worth 44, and it was just about developing.
44 does not mean.
And we see another wicket. Dan has bowled John. Both in batsmen are now out.
Well, again, case in point, another piddly 29, and it is not going to win the game for him. I don't know what John Hill is doing here. We've seen a few cases in this move where his technique has let him down. And once again, a rash drive, Johnny Bairstow-esque, completely missing the ball. The ball at this stage is not doing well. Terrific length and line from the bowler, but he will be absolutely livid with himself there.
And what you say is Tony's a new batsman. First ball ducks down the side of the bowling and bouncer. The captain's in on the action with his first wicket of the day. So far we've got Anthony Pago's taken 2 wickets, Brendan's taken 2, Jason's taken 2. Can Dan Matcham take 2 as well? As we've seen another bouncer and a ball. 1 for 4 from the over. It's 136 for 7 off 29.
Well, a good leave there from Tony Coles, and the one saving grace I would say for Ben's team at this point, Tony Coles, very well known as a good player off the back foot, uses a high middle on his bat, loves the back foot. He could be well suited to the bowling of these two bowlers here, and it's perhaps time, with that in mind, Dan might be looking at a bowling change, looking for someone who perhaps gets a little bit of movement off the seam, and likes to bowl it a little bit fuller to try and trap Tony Coles bowled or LBW.
Interesting thoughts there, Chris. As we see Sydney face his first couple of balls of the tournament, of the league, yet to get off the mark. Both of these batsmen have not played yet. Both faced 2 balls, yet to get off the mark. Wickets falling all around him, as we then finally see Sydney could take what looks like it's going to be a quick 2 down to the extra cover boundary. So a good little batting and running there. But Pagoda and Dan to get the 2 wickets, bowling the off stump out of the ground for the last. They've surely got a few overs just to settle down on them before pushing on.
Well, you say that, Beefy, but we're well into the first over, and as we've discussed before, 240 is the past score. At the minute they're projected for about 190. I don't think that's going to be enough on this at this standard of the Virtual Cricket League.
Interesting choice of shot there, Sydney, as he bowls a short one, going way down the leg side. He backs almost onto the square leg umpire's toes. To play it to the guy at point from
This
here.
is a point we've seen all too often throughout this innings, and I would say Ben's team are in desperate need of a batting coach or a new batting coach. Some of the technique of some of his players, I'm sorry, quite frankly, they've been woeful, appalling, and absolute triumph. And that case in point there, playing a straight short ball with Sydney Fernandez doing something like the samba outside his leg stump to try and play that into the square, into point.
Dan Smith continues to bowl from the other end to Sydney. Looks like a single to start the over. It was 139 for 7 off 30, and it's. I know I mentioned earlier that there was a midweek game on this pitch, but you've got to remember it is a used pitch. It's now crumbling. Perhaps this is a good score. as we see them short
I
and
would,
well wide.
I would disagree with you. On pitches that are difficult, you require technique, and this team has all the technique of me trying to dance. He can't answer. At this point, you trust
I
technique.
do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. We seem to be having some technical problems with Chris's mic again. You've gone into robot mode. We can't understand a single word you're saying, chat.
If anyone can provide some WD-40, please get in touch on the chat. Hopefully that will ease my circuits up.
Yeah, you sound loud and clear just then, so hopefully that has alleviated that little bit of robotness. And Dan Smith continues to bowl at Sydney. Quite easy to identify the batsman for the commentators right now, being a right and left-hand combo. Can more teams have this, please? Because then we don't have to read the writing.
Yes, and this is difficult for Beefy, who can't read.
Very. I'm going to say here, watching the game, knowing what happened in the midweek game where 240 was the score, it was round about the pass score. It's a used pitch, it's crumbling, but we also know it's hard. No spinners in the Blues team, so you just don't know whether this score is actually a good score. Because maybe if it crumbles anymore, the Yellows are obviously going to use the pitch second, where you expect their spinning team, mainly in particular Harrison, Matt and Tony, 3 frontline spinners in their team. They're all going to be dangerous. I think Ben's team could actually defend 160 here. I'm going to put it out there. They could defend 160.
No, I would disagree. I think a lot of the problems they have made, as I said, has been down to poor technique. We saw the last 2 wickets, some rash, straight drives, completely mistiming and missing the ball. I think Dan, when they get back to the changing room, the instruction will be just play sensibly, look to build on where they were last week, where they chased the total down for the fall of no wickets. And I think they'll be safely home. I think we're over talking the impact of this pitch at this point.
Ryan Coles is coming to the attack for Gola. This is Ryan's 7th ball of the over. As I'm just going to interrupt you, Chris, here because I've got someone on the line. We see nothing happening. Hello, are you there?
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm about. How are you doing?
The Blues captain is all mic'd up for this game. He's out on the field somewhere, I hope. Maybe he's got the substitute fielder in. Dan, how are we doing?
Not too bad, thanks, mate. How are you doing? Pretty good setup so far, isn't it?
It's not bad. It seems to be everything going your way on the whole. How do you make of the game so far?
It's been alright. It's been alright. We're obviously very happy with the amount of wickets we took. Last week we only got 4 or 5, and then struggled to make inroads when Ollie and Jamie got going. Happy to personally take the wicket of John Hill. He looked like he was going really well, so it was good to nip him in the bud. But yeah, overall pretty happy with the day's play. But I disagree with what Chris has been saying about how we'll be really happy with how we've restricted them. Last week I was adamant that it was a batting track and you didn't believe me. This week I think there's a few more demons in the pitch here. They've gone okay. As long as our boys can make starts and then kick on and do what they haven't, we should be alright to chase down they'll probably get around 200 here. So we should be alright to chase that down.
I see you've just brought Chris Love back into the attack. He's been out of the attack for a while. I find like he bowled 4 spells at the beginning of the game. So you're going to bowl him out here?
He bowled well. He bowled well early doors, but they went after him, didn't they, poor Chrissy Love? They went after him, and I thought I'd protect him for a little bit, bring him back and let him do his damage on these lads. And yeah, so far, nice tight over. But we'll see.
As you just see a flick round the corner and chased for the boundary, and it's just gone for 4. Sorry, Chris has a question for you. Bear with me while I relay it to you. Chris?
Yeah. I agree with his point that he should be more comfortable, but does he not feel that this is not the partly or quite a lot Ben's team's own doing. We saw some poor shots there where they got bowled.
Has he got a question?
He does have a question, but the line keeps breaking up. I think he's trying to say, do you think that a lot of the, even though you're saying there's a few demons in the pitch, and it's Chris is saying is that basically a lot of the wickets have been lost due to bad batting for the yellows rather than good bowling, maybe.
How many did he score when he was playing for the Reds?
Chris, how many did you score when you were playing for the Reds?
About.
There's a few. The line's breaking up again.
Yeah, it wasn't many though, was it, Chris? So if you leave all the batting technique alone, that'll be fine. Thanks very much, mate.
6th on the over. We're 154 for 7 off 33. The last 7 overs of the innings coming up, and Ryan Coles is going to bowl his 8th and final over.
Yeah, just get him in. It was unfortunate, to be honest. I wanted him to have more of a chance to bowl at Lewis, but Lewis kept seeming to take a single and move away from him. I did want that battle to go on a little bit longer, but Lewis couldn't stay in for very long.
We would have liked to see more of that battle. It seemed interesting at the time. Sydney's on strike now, as we see another single taken to mid-wicket. Dan, what do you think is a pass score? Just your opinion and your last thoughts before I let you go?
Hard to say. I think the lesson that you should learn from last week is that you can't judge pitch until both teams are batted on it. I think I still back our batsmen to chase down anything after about 210, up to about 210, we should be fine.
Interesting. Dan, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you'll join us again later on while your team's batting, and I'll speak to you very soon.
No worries, mate. Cheers.
Thanks, bye.
Yep.
So Chris, hopefully we've sorted out our mic problems. Are you there, Chris?
I am. I'm here now, having just heard from bowling all-rounder Dan Smith. They're trying to give me a talking down on batting technique there.
I think you two should have a little wager where, like a tenner of who scores the most runs, and you both bat around the same sort of order, 4, 5, 6, in the virtual league. Dan is yet to bat today, and you're batting tomorrow, and you got a game next week. Yeah, Dan didn't
Tell
bat
you
at all
what, if
last
he
week.
scores more runs than me, I will quite happily publicly apologise. Live on Facebook. Post it on the Mears Ashby cricket page.
So on the chat, Dan, are you up for the challenge that whoever loses has to post on the Mears Ashby chat that the other person is a better batsman and will apologise to him? Are you up for it?
Well, I'll tell you now, I will run rings. I will run rings around that young pipsqueak now.
Okay. Anyway, as Chris and Dan have laid a challenge for each other, we'll see Dan's response shortly, as at the moment I'm unable to get to the chats, but we will do. It's gone into the floor, it's dropped through. Chris is back in for his 6th over. At the end of the last, it's 159 for 7, 6 overs to go. They can comfortably get over 200 here. It'll be a very good score, I think, on this pitch, Chris.
Indeed, I think they'll be happy with 200, but again, I still feel Dan's team able to chase that total down, no problem. Especially with the form they come into from last week.
On the 4th ball pitching. What we will say is that during that conversation with Dan, and during that little period just before, Sydney sneaked onto 16 runs from 24. He's doing okay. He's made a start. His confidence is into the orange. Maybe he's the guy to kick on. Someone needs to.
Yeah.
Literally, as I say that, he plays a coach.
Let's see where they get to. We've seen this all too often around innings, a nice 20 or even 30, and then one mistake has brought the House of Cards crashing down where they were in a position where they held all the aces.
Just 2 runs coming from Chris's 6th for 35 over. It's 161 for 7. Chris, what would your instruction be if you was captain as Brendan returns to the attack?
For the batting, I bowl. I mean, we all remember my historic spell as a captain. It was very memorable for all the wrong reasons. certainly with the guys in the batting lineup, I've got a few people still to come in. I would just be saying, just look to rotate the strike, get the focus. If one of these two fall, look to get the focus on the other batsman. Hopefully by that point,
well, there's now a free hit because Brendan for his first ball, the 8th over, has bowled yet another no ball. And Sydney gives it a go. Tony hits it. It's not Sydney, it's the left hand. Even when the left and right handers are getting mixed up. So there's just a single from the free hit. Interesting that another no ball there from Brendan. I think that's his 4th, maybe even
and again,
5th.
Yes, and very wide of the mark. Again, I know we keep banging on about it, but I think it will be investigated further. We'll see whether there's any outcome that comes out of it.
I'd like to just to give you some news that did break in the midweek, but it was Ryan Coles' blood test came back. It was negative. He only got found guilty of having too much, what was that again? Alcohol in his system. I think he's been drinking a bit too much. So other than that, there was so that's the key to Ryan's performance. He apparently had some Jägermeister before the game. As Brendan comes in to bowl his 4th ball of the over. It's a single down to point for Sydney. Takes his score to 20 from 27 balls, 29 balls even. Tony's on 9 from 14, just settling down, but there's not much time left.
No, just coming up to 4 overs left. This will be a point where these two need to hit out. Again, being a back foot player, I do wonder whether Tony Coles should elevate the order. Sure, if he does have the range of a shot over the top of 6. Again, being more of a back foot player, you wonder whether his time should be better played in the early parts of the innings, when the ball's new, moving around a lot, just to dab it around off the back foot for odd singles and 2s.
Chris Love continues into his 7th over. It's short. It's hit down back a point for what looks like a single. There was 7 runs coming from the last over. 4 overs to go. You need 30 odd runs to get to the magic 200. I think 200 is going to be the key here, and Sydney's going to be the big batsman. He's now in 20 from 30. He's on strike now onto the pitch, and he hooks it. It's in the air. Doesn't quite carry down to the guy fine leg for a single.
Again, Ben seems still struggling with that short ball, and has been the story throughout this innings. Perhaps something to work on in the next game next week in the nets. The bowling machine firing in short to them.
An excellent shot back at point. Right Fairman goes round, cuts it off for 2.
Terrific fielding.
That's when relay fielding is at its finest, when it's spends any further runs. Christopher's 4th, back to Tony. Just defends it. He's happy with 4 runs so far from the 4 balls. 2 balls left of this Chris Love over. He's bowling in the 80s. He's bowling well here.
Well, the conundrum for them two is if one of these two get out, they're well into the tail, so they can't afford to play those risky shots you would like to at this end of the innings. But again, the problem with that is that's exactly what we should be doing at this stage.
Excellent running there.
Looking for 10 over each and every go before 1 go.
Tony and Sydney, excellent running there, and went for 2 off the 5th ball, and Tony plays it around the corner. They look like they're running 2 yet again. This is excellent running between the pair. Ended up getting 8 from the over, 176 for 7.
Coming off that over.
There's a change of bowling. Jason
bit of variation there from the bowlers now, looking for a couple of balls banged in to try and keep the run rate under control. With Searle coming back in left, a little bit of edge.
You're breaking up again, Chris. Jason's back into the attackers. I think what you were saying. He bowled really well so far. His 6 overs is 22 for 2. Less than 4 and over, and he's picked up 2 prized wickets. I believe he got the opener Drew and Mike G earlier today.
And you can see why Dan's bringing your most informed bowler to bowl out your death overs. That's perhaps what he was looking for when he was changing the bowlers over, maybe an audition for a death bowler. He's going through so far to get ball.
Excellent ball there as Sydney gets it all wrong. Hits him on the pads as he's trying to cut a foolish ball. That's where the space is on the boundary. There's a guy at deep square leg, long on, deep extra cover, and like a deep point on for the corner on the sweep. Ball miles down the track there from Sydney. That was brave. Played an excellent shot. He's only going to pick up 2 for it. Love to see a replay of that. That's my favourite
I don't
moment.
think I've seen a batsman involved quite that much in all my time. You do have to wonder whether perhaps a little bit more work to a little bit short. I will hand the 2 from that terrific keeping there to stop that one and get the ball.
Only 2 coming from the 38th over so far. And Sydney plays a dot ball to finish 2. An excellent Jason so early. 178 for 7. 200 may be out of reach now.
I would have to agree. It's going to take a blistering 2 overs from these 2. And they don't seem quite in the mood to do that. But you would have to imagine now is the time, death or glory.
Excellent single taken there by Tony from the first ball of this 39th and the last Chris Love over to get Sydney back on strike. Is the confident batsman at the moment. And he's edged it.
Single.
Oh, it's a thick edge. It's unlucky. It's gone all the way to the boundary for 4. An excellent ball, finding the edge again, but no one there. Kind of went to let's see a replay of this. Chris bowling an excellent ball onto the stumps, edges it through basically backward point. The guy points too far around. There is a gully in place, but it's too quick. Goes all the way to the boundary. Sydney's now on 27 from 38, but that could be just what the Yellows need at this time. Is Chris, how's he going to respond into the pitch? A single taken to square leg.
You do have to say, just not Chris Love's day today. It's a bad day at the office.
I think he's bowled really well without any real rewards. Tony's now on strike. 6 coming from
I
the first 3 balls.
entirely agree.
And I think it's out. 1 bounce. And 4. This is turning into an excellent over for the Yellows. 10 coming from the 4 balls so far. 2 balls for comfort.
Well, case in point, no rest for the wicket. And another boundary goes off the bowling of Chris Love. Partnership to bring up the 50 partnership.
The first 50 partnership of the game. These 2 have shown off 61 balls, so they're doing it around about 5 and over. 5 and over through the whole innings is comfortably 200, so these 2 are doing okay. And some more excellent running
I
between
don't think Anson will be too worried by this. It looks like he's leaving that and trying him that swat. Perhaps to get these 2 out bowled or just to miss the ball completely. It's a very risky option with the ball tight to the stump.
Last ball of Chris is over into Sydney. Happy to take the dot. 11 runs coming from 189 for 7 of 39. 1 over to go. You would expect Jason Soul to bowl it for his 8th over. 200, Chris?
You would have to be tight. This will be the crucial over. It will be it's the only over, but you get the point. This could set the tone for what might be a defendable total, or what might Ben's team in the doghouse.
Perhaps the pitch is getting a little bit better, but it's going to be the spin bowlers that are going to be the interesting key. Jason coming in to bowl at Sydney, and he hits out. It's gone big, it's gone massive, and it's gone for 6. Could even be the first 6 of the innings. I can't remember any other 6s. Over deep to cover. Sydney picks it up early. It was a decent ball. It's full. It had a bit of whip. It's through the kitchen sink of it, Chris.
First stage, you have to throw the kitchen sink, the house keys, the furniture, everything at the ball. And in this case, it's paid off. Not quite the first 6 of the game. There've been a couple of others. Certainly they've been few and far between, but what a time to bring one out of the locker now.
Sydney's moved on.
200 very much looking like an achievable target at this point. Three balls to come from the over. But
Oh, and he plays big again. He picks it off his hip, right over spare leg. Yet another 6, brings up the 200 for the Yellows. With 2 balls left to go, they're on 202.
where was this a couple of overs ago? Terrific shot.
Don't see that played every day. What I will add also, Sydney with the previous 6 brings up a score that would mean that he scored the most runs for the Yellows, leading scorer of the day. It's the 5th ball of the over as Jason comes into bowl.
Yeah.
It's full, it's driven for what could be a single. 14 so far from the 5 balls, 1 to come.
Well, Dan's team will be disappointed with this. They've let it slip a little bit in the last couple of overs on what were looking a very good total to those teams too. 200 I still feel is easily achievable, but obviously less is more when you're building.
A single come, quick single from the last?
Yes, a quick single off the last ball to finish the over there. 203 for 7.
Tony and
finish up the innings.
Sydney have moved the score on to a very respectable 204 for 7. I'm going to pause the broadcast in a second, ladies and gentlemen. Some excellent bowling here. Nobody very expensive other than Love towards the end. As we're just going to pause the play. Time's now 17:30. The play will resume at 17:35. We're going to try and correct some of our issues that we got in the broadcasting booth here. So give us 5 minutes and we'll be back on very, very shortly. Hello and welcome for the start of the second innings of the game, where we get to see the Blues return, see if they can get to 204. I've seen some comments to say, I believe the captain of the Reds believes that, who's watching this feed, 204 is just below par, reckons it's a 250 track. This Blues team is unreal. Obviously we saw the Blues chase down a massive 220 without losing a wicket last week. We thought last week maybe spin will be the key on this pitch. It is crumbling. There's 3 spinners in this Yellows bowling lineup. We get to see what they're going to be made of very, very shortly. Yellows, their top scorer 41, not out Sydney, an excellent knock there. We had Mike Thompson score 31 and John Hill 29 with the 3 top scorers. 3 catches from Tim Shea, excellent. But at the end, that almost a 68-run partnership between Sydney and Tony brought them very much into the game. I think 200 is about a par score, maybe a little bit short, but they've got the bowling. Dan's Blues, they're the pick of the bowlers there. You would have to say Anthony Fagolu. He's 5 overs, going 20 for 2, economy of 4. 4 extras for Brendan, 7 in total throughout the innings. Maybe a bit of concern for the Blues captain, but I think he'll be satisfied with probably the first 30-ish overs. The last 10 got away a little bit, but it was still, I think this is very chaseable and the game is evenly poised. As we now resume second innings, and there's a change in the batting. Stuart Gray looks like he's going out to bat. Well, this is a surprise to me. Ben Cole's going to open the bowling. And it's Gray and Chamberlain to open the batting for the Blues. So a change from the magnificent partnership from last week. Single off the first ball for Gray, down to backward point. Not sure exactly what's going on here. Dan's obviously mixing things up, or virtually Dan is, as we see Jamie see if he can continue for his 124 not out last week. As Ben comes steaming in, Jamie plays a single down to extra cover. Ben coming in. Ben for the 4th ball. And it's another dot into the covers. Now we hear that Ryan might have a slight injury. This could be the reason, as we see a shot down the ground but no run. It's the last ball of the over, Gray on strike.
Wait there.
And it's a dot ball. It's only 2 coming from the first over. Let me start from Ben. John Hill to join him opening the left arm fast. Good figures last week, 3 for 34. He was before today the league's leading wicket taker. And he's coming in and facing him is Chamberlain. John's coming into face. Dot ball into the covers. Gray 1 from his 6 balls. Jamie's 2 from 2. John keeping it nice and tight.
Waiting.
So someone like to tell Jason what happened with the last 3 wickets. And as John is bowling at Stuart, he takes a single do I say I take a single or he takes a single? This is new territory to me. This is the first time I've done anything in the league. I haven't bowled in 2 innings, and I definitely did not have to bat last week. So Chamberlain on strike. John comes marching in. It's short. He hooks it. As a fielder coming round, he cuts it off comfortably for what looks like just a single. Now, 1 ball left of the over. Gray's on strike. Plays it into leg side for a single. 3 coming from that over. The score is 5 from them off 2. Chris has just gone away to try and fix some of his robot issues. He was sounding like a robot at times, I'm aware of that. The run rate required 5.26. It's gettable, but we're down to wickets in hand, I think, today. Which saw the Yellows lost wickets at regular intervals until well into the 30 overs, where Tony and Sydney managed to get the first real partnership going, got to 50 from 60 balls. So it shows that if you just keep your wicket in hand today, as we see a shot down the ground by Chamberlain, it's going to be a chase on to see if they can cut it round. The ball doesn't just slow down a bit for 2, I believe. So maybe wickets in hand is the key. It's the case of keeping the wicket, and you should be able to get 5 and over. So Yellows will be looking to pick up the regular wickets. So Chamberlain strike to Cole, dot ball to square leg. Steaming in. Chamberlain on strike. Short, he cuts it on the bounce to Gurley, stops it well. See a replay on the last one. Ben for his 5th ball at the over. Jamie on strike.
Waiting.
Didn't quite go to where he wanted it to go. Dot ball none. And with 1 ball left of the over, Cole, the bowler. Chamberlain, the batsman. Pitches it up outside off stump, driven down the ground to long off 4. And they're running quickly. They're going to come back for 2. They get back for 2 comfortably. 4 coming from that over. It's 9 from none off 3. He's mixing up his lengths there. Maybe needs to trouble the stumps just a little bit more.
Yep.
John, even, sorry, the other left armer in this game, to continue bowling. Single first ball. And Gray moves on to 3 from 10. Chamberlain 7 from 9. John bowls it, pitches it up. He needs to angle it into that little bit of gap between in the mid-wicket area, but square leg comes around, cuts it off just for a single. Brings Gray back on strike. John ran by at 78 miles per hour. I know he can bowl quicker. It's been not many balls today above 90 miles per hour, though Fagola and Searle got a couple to get up there. Short, cut, point cuts it off. And he drives it into the covers. And the guy on the sweep, that on the cover boundary, gets around to cut it off for just 1. Back into the 90s again, 91.5. John not too expensive so far, so they'll be content with this, but they still want wickets. These openers can be dangerous. As Chamberlain steers the ball round to square leg, the guy cuts it off well. He's kind of on this backward square leg boundary for 1 run. Jamie on 9 from 11. That's a nice steady start, adding on to his, was it 120 odd he got last week. Last ball the over, Gray on strike.
Yep.
Driven into the cover boundary to the guy. There's a guy there who fields it for 1. 5 coming from the over. It's 14 for none off 4. Steady reply so far for Dan's Blues. Ben's going to continue into his third over.
Waiting.
And a shot hit straight to the fielder pretty much. Dot ball first up. Last week, Ben in the 5th over chose to bring on the spinner. So slight change of tactic from last week from what worked well for them. But then again, the Blues are changing their opening batsman. So Ben comes in, Gray on strike. Takes a single down to... Chamberlain now on strike. Again, he's bolting in. Short, wide, it's edged on the bounce, not to stop. On the bounce, one-handed dive. I think it was Gunnar again, you know, after his worldie last week. That was a fantastic stop. Then with the next ball, and it's another dot ball. I believe we now have Chris back on the line, ladies and gentlemen. Chris, can you hear me?
Hello Beefy, yes I'm back on the line. Hopefully sorted out my connection and also sorted myself out with a lovely cup of green tea.
Lovely cup of green tea.
Twinings for those of you wondering.
As the ball gets hit into the square leg boundary for a single to Chamberlain. One thing I will say is in this commentary box, Chris, that no one sent us any cakes in, so with the we need some cakes being sent into the commentary box so we can give them a rating. Obviously no other reason for it, as we finish the over with a dot ball. Only 2 coming from it, 16 for none off 5. What do you make of this start?
Solid enough start. It's very interesting to see that you've been promoted up the order. I wonder whether there was any sign of politicking there, Mr. Gray. Very surprising to see Cole's dropped down the order after his 99 last week.
I think I did go into the captain's office, as he has an office over in Canada, and to inquire about me batting potentially up the order. But actually it was the captain called me in and said he just wants to change it up and wants a different style of batsman this time, so that's why I've been moved up to open.
I think I'm more inclined to believe the first one, and it says a lot for your desperation to bat that during social distancing laws you get on a plane to Canada just to plead your case to the captain.
And we just see the first 4 ball of the innings as Gray hits it through. It was on his legs.
Oh, he had to do that. He's made me look a right mug.
So, yeah, I believe Ryan's been moved down the order. I'm not sure how far down. I think he's coming in near the bottom. I think it's something to do with how many overs. He bowled his 8 overs today and doing a bit of an all-rounder. As we see a big shot from Gray. Is it going to go all the way? It is 6! It's stopped messing around now. Hits it over square leg. Seen Sydney play that shot a few overs ago. Well, I'll give this a go off any ball around there. Didn't quite get the pitch of the ball right, and it's gone over square leg. For a
well, all
six.
I'm going to say is, Dan Smith, I hope you're happy. We're now going to hear about this for the next 6 weeks as he hits another ball off his legs for 6.
Short, wide, on the bounce. Great stop by Gully. Not sure who that was. Didn't quite pick that up on the cameras there. That was a fantastic stop. Gray's still on strike with the last ball the over. Is John going to respond? Ball onto the pads. It's a dot ball. 11 coming from it. 27 for 96.
Yes, not the over that John Hill would have been expecting or hoping for at the start of his spell. Perhaps a little bit tired from batting.
Chris, Howson Abbott is into the attack and he's bowling at Jamie Chamberlain.
Ooh.
The right arm wrist spinner on the stumps, on the money straight away. Interesting field here. We've got a guy on a 45. Looks like a deep slip for a wrist spinner. Oh no, it's a slip. Sorry, he did move back just after that ball. There's a point, shortage cover. As we see the ball, it's wide, lots of width. It's in the air. There's a guy out there on the bounce. He fields it. for a single. So there's a guy on the cover boundary, seems to be a wide mid-off. Change of field to Gray though, seems to be more in the ring, but 2 on the leg side boundary, interesting. First ball, full toss for a dot.
I think a wise move from the captain so far, looking to just cover the areas where the batsman can play with the spin on the offside, and then for Gray, looking to try and encourage him to go over the top early here while he's still unsettled into his innings. Why am I saying he? While you're still unsettled into your innings, and look for the early catch. So far hasn't worked. 28 for naught.
I must admit it's a bit difficult commentating on the game while actually facing balls from this very good wrist spinner, this very young wrist spinner. There's a shot through the covers though. As he pitched it up, is the fielder going to get there in time? It looked like he did. That's excellent bit of fielding there in the deep. Well chased down for only 2 runs.
Terrific click back there. Absolutely textbook.
Last ball over. And it's just defended into the leg side. Only 3 coming from Big H's first over. It's 30 for none off 7. Solid start so far, Chris.
Solid start for the batting lineup. As I say, well on the run rate at the minute. Just need to keep plugging away there. The indication as to what the pitch will be doing will be, I think, from seeing the results of Harrison Abbott's spell and seeing what sort of movement and turn he can get out of the pitch, as we see looking to bring another spinner into the attacking Matt Hoskins.
Matt Hoskins excellent figures last week, if you remember right. I think he got two big wickets for not many runs. The left arm unorthodox bowler is coming in with James Chamberlain on strike and is happy just to defend the first 2 balls, Chris.
Indeed. Just looking to get the feel for what Hoskins is doing. As I said, caused a lot of damage in the middle part of the innings last week, picking up 2 wickets in very quick succession. Chamberlain, no doubt aware of this and just looking to see his way in, playing a similar sort of innings to last week.
A single there for Jamie takes his score to 13 from 20. Gray's on 18 from 25 as he's now on strike. Again, the Blues have now gone 47.5 overs without a wicket. I thought I was going to jinx it then, as we see a single taken down the ground by Gray. So the Blues don't know how to lose wickets at the moment, but between the greens and the yellows, they don't know how to take wickets, should we say. Is this Blue team unstoppable, Chris?
I think so. I think losing wickets is not a lesson that Mr. Smith will have in the syllabus. But at the minute, you have to say they seem the favourites for the title, although, as I say, still very early days in the Virtual Cricket League as it stands. And still indeed very early
and
days.
There's a wicket, just as we talk about it. Matt Hoskins makes the breakthrough. Gray has gone for 19 from 27. We're just talking about how well this Blue teams have been batting today. Bowled. I think it pitched even outside leg stump. He didn't need to. He just needed to get his legs in the line. That's an awful shot. So,
well, why don't you talk us through your thought process of the minute? Because I'm not quite sure what you were trying to do with this little ball across the line with the ball pitching on middle stump. Would you like to tell us what you were trying to do there, Mr. Gray?
I could sum it up very well. It was basically get out of the way of the ball and swing bat at hips. It's 33 for 1 off of 8. As Charlie Threadgold is the number 3 batsman. If Jamie was on strike for the first ball, Harrison's second over. We see a single. We're going to see Charlie for the first time in this tournament. So to answer your question, Chris, basically I like to get my legs as far out of the way of the ball as possible because it hurts, and swing my arms through the ball as quick as I can. Obviously, I'm not very good at it.
Indeed. So, how many spells of batting have you got planned for this week? There's a few people on the chat asking that question. How many spells of batting have you got planned for this innings? So we're going to see you again this innings.
As Charlie gets off the mark on his second ball too, with a single. I have been into seeing the officials to insist that I have 5 spells of batting, but apparently that's against the rules or something along those lines. I don't understand it personally, as Jamie takes a single down.
Well, you, the viewers, can decide if you feel there should be a rule change to allow at least 5 spells of batting for people like my co-commentator, please write in and get in touch. And just to reiterate again, if anyone would like to send in any cakes to the studio, please send them to Toaster for our inspection.
Absolutely agree with that. Sorry, Upton, you mean the ground? Is that Mears Ashby?
No, Toaster. I think you've got that mistaken. Send them to Toaster. That's where our postbox is for cake matters. Toaster.
Harrison with the last ball the over, an excellent stop at point to restrict it to 5 from the over. Harrison's bowling really well. Pat spin is the key. 38 for 1 off 9.
Indeed, trending on Twitter was hashtag need a spinner. It seems to be bearing fruit to the minute, but breaking up what could have been a very dangerous partnership, the mix of the aggression of Gray and the experience of Chamberlain. However, still on track at the minute. Current runway about 4.22, requiring just over 5 and over. We'll look to try and see off Hoskins with this pitch, starting to get a few footmarks in the turf. Perhaps they were right, it was crumbling away, they were saying.
You see a single there from Chamberlain off Hoskins bowling. Could be right. It's proving a tricky pitch, and even more so for the Yellows. They've got 3 spinners. They're resting one of their frontline spinners, because obviously he batted for 10 overs and ran a lot of runs with Sydney. Then we're on about Tony here. So to have a third spin option and not have to use him early on, because you've still got the talents of Hoskins and Harrison. As we see another ball and another dot ball. They're making it quite tight here.
I would agree. The danger batsman though is going to be Chamberlain. Very tricky to get out. Does not have a tendency to play a lot of rash shots. Just tends to noodle and nudge it around the field for singles and fours between the gaps. Could be the glue that holds this all together by the end of the game. But of course we've seen on many occasions the commentator's curse, as we see a single played there, the second to last ball. Hoskins to conclude the over.
2 coming from it in the end, 40 for 1. 40 for 1 off 10 even. And Harrison continues bowling.
Indeed, Harrison looking to extract a bit of turn from the pitch. You would start to wonder perhaps whether the rough patches, perhaps he's playing from the wrong end. A couple of rough patches emerging from Hoskins' area that perhaps might benefit the wrist spinner going into the legs of the batsman. But nonetheless, Abbott doing a very good job with the current scenario, as we see just a single taken from the second ball, and Abbott continuing his spell, being 41 for 1 off into the 10th over, and they'll take a single off there, just noodled into the gap from Chamberlain. And looking to play a patient game, perhaps learning the lessons of Ben's team, who lost wickets very early on. Indeed, were about 3 down at roughly the same point.
I was just looking that up as you spoke, and at the end of the over, I'll give you a like how it's going on. As we see another excellent bit of fielding here at point by the Yellows. They're really up for this game. Perhaps they don't like Blues have been given the favourites tag here, so perhaps they're really up for it as they're trying to knock them off their perch. As we see for the last ball, the Harrison's over going for a single. It's 43 for 1 off 11, and while the Yellows were batted, it was 53 for 2 off 11, so they're 10 runs down, but they've got 1 wicket in hand. What would you rather be on? As we see a change of bowling, Tony Coles comes in.
I would definitely at this point rather have wickets in hand. This is the point where you can start to set the tone of the game, and if you've got your batting deep in the latter part, you can start to take a few more risks. That was the problem with Ben's team when they were batting. Too many wickets down, they couldn't afford to go for the big shots, and while it eventually was recovered towards the last 2 overs, I still feel that could have been a lot higher score. We've seen some calls of 250 being the par for this pitch. I'd be inclined to agree with them.
No, I still see it as a 200. 200's a good score. I think it's about at least what you would want. As you can see the openers take out, including Charlie batting at 3. He's smoothly scored 7 from 15. Jamie's on 18 from 27, doing exactly what he needs to do at his end. I think if you can go 4 and over up to about the 20 over mark and not lose wickets, if you're on about 18 for 1 or 2 off of 20 overs, I think that the Blues will be favourites. But that's where you need. The Yellows were after 20, 88 for 4 because of those. They lost some wickets around about this time. So.
And just your point on the fielding, as we note the loss of wickets, I think some of the players have a point to prove after some abject ways of getting out, and this is the way they will repay the faith that the captain has had in them in the early stage of this season in selecting them. If they can give their all in the field and restrict some of the runs, keep the run rate down, they might just yet pull this off, or at least have a chance of pulling this off.
46 for 1 of 12, a good 20 controls over, only 3 runs coming from it. And the spinners have been going for 6 overs here, and in that time they've only gone for 19 runs and took a wicket. So 19 for 1 from 6 overs is only 3. They're doing well so far as Harrison continues.
Waiting.
Seems to have a change of fielding here. Seems to have a long off. We've got someone short. Sure, silly point.
Wait there.
Just up a bit too much, but gets away with it. Another good bit of fielding, Chris.
Indeed. Just trying to nurdle it into the gap. A terrific dive to cut that off for another dot ball. New fielders are giving everything for their team, fighting like badgers in the field. Absolutely tremendous. And certainly looking at the silly point, perhaps a wise move. We've seen a few balls go up in the air as the ball seems to just stick in the pitch a little bit, causing a few balls to go up in the air off the straight bat. So there could be a few chances to be had here, although better them than me fielding in that position.
So yeah, got another person shortish on the cover side to Chamberlain. So with the odd ball sticking, as you just said. It keeps changing it though. We've got onto a deep extra cover. Long off.
Perhaps worth moving him into silly mid-off or mid-on, Beefy. Although we do see another change and that's been taken out.
And we get another single there from Jamie. 2 from the over so far. These spinners are keeping it nice and tight. No more than 3 and over. I think there was 1 over that went for 5, but between them they've really gone for 3 and over. Short and wide. He's driven that. First bad ball I've seen for a very, very, very long time. It gets the punishment. It is 4 runs. It's 52 for 1 off 13.
Very wide there from Harrison Abbott. The speed there about 57.9, so it appears he perhaps tried to throw that down a little bit too fast, tried a little bit too hard and got his body shape all wrong as that came out of the hand, and rightfully punished through the gap through point for 4 runs.
That's moved Charlie's score to 13 from 20 as Tony Goals continues for his second over. Chamberlain on strike now, 20 from 31.
He's looking at the bowler ground. Few too many short balls there from Abbott. Can't afford to do that. One more over like that, we might see him come off in favour of perhaps Hoskins.
Go for the sweep. Charlie gets the sweep out. It goes down towards the cow corner boundary. Well played in the end. Looks like they've run 2, maybe 3. 2 runs for Charlie, 15 from 21. His confidence is now lifted into the green. Jamie's already in the green. He's been in the green for a few overs now. As Tony bowls his 3rd over. And he gets a single. So finally they've decided we've got to score some runs against these 3 spinners. 4 coming off the first 3 balls of this over.
Right there.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Chris. Switch hit from Chamberlain. Went nowhere near where he wanted to go. Basically went through mid-off for a single. They're trying different things here, Chris.
Indeed, trying to mix it up. Try a few bits of variation just to try and keep the scores ticking along.
Six
another
one there, and six is company over. It's 58 for 1 off 14.
Yeah, good little over there from the batting side. Perhaps few more runs than Coles would have liked after his good start, but nothing too much to worry about at the minute, although trying a change of approach here to break up this partnership.
And first ball, short and wide. Charlie jumps all over it, cuts it away for 4. No one needs to run for that. 21 for 24, great shot.
Oh, the pitfalls of captains bringing themselves on. This is the end result, and a few people looking to get on themselves will be looking at that thinking, I could have done better. Not the best start to your spell. Cole's looking still to loosen up, it seems. Will look to respond immediately to that terrific shot.
As he releases the ball short and wide again, but not quite as wide. I do apologise. It was short. 91.4. Bit of an angry ball, I think, straight to gully. Fortunately, on the bounce. You see shadows on the pitch. Pitches it back. Better line. That was a single down to the cover boundary.
Good little bit of running there for the single from the 2. Charlie seems to have picked up the scoring rate quite a bit. Looked to be struggling early doors, but now 22 off 26 balls. As we see a straight bat respectfully played from Chamberlain there to the bowling of Ben Cole. He slowed down a little bit to try and find his line of length, bowling about 87 miles an hour there.
Not sure what we just saw there from Chamberlain. Like he was just trying to drive a ball and ends up hitting pads, playing it all wrong. Nice ball, the over though. 5's coming from it. A little bit pricey because of that first ball boundary. Short, and it's going to be a dot. Good recovery from Ben. 63 for 1 off 15.
Yeah, when you first saw the start of his spell, you were starting to think this might be a bit painful for young Ben Coles, but in the end recovered well. Few variations, especially in the second to last ball there, with the slower ball that Chamberlain played just a little bit too early. Got caught up in his pads. So we now see Coles return to the attack.
Single off the first ball. Charlie takes the score to 23 off 27. He's now outscoring Jamie, who's on 22 for 37. He's going to try and... There's a sweep there from Jamie to the mid-wicket boundary. A great shot on script quickly. 4. That's... Blues seem to be playing without any pressure at the moment. Get the 4 early on, gets the singles if they need to, as we see a replay. Chris?
Well, that is all the pressure off the batsman for this over. Anything now is a bonus. Unfortunately, just a little bit too full there from Tony Coles, trying to find the footmark just outside the leg stump, and Chamberlain, an experienced veteran of many years, onto that in a flash.
Follows it up by tickling the next ball round the corner. There's a chase on down to the... But it's going to go for 4. Back-to-back 4s from Jamie. Takes his score up to 30. 30 from 39, Chris.
Well, in an instant, we've seen 30 off 38. Suddenly picked it up almost with little effort at all. Another terrific shot just prodded into the gap.
He's just repeated exactly the same shot. This could be 3 4s on the bounce. It is, comfortably so. He's stepping up the pace.
I do have to say, out of all the batsmen, Chamberlain is my favourite to watch. Every innings is just like a masterstroke, painting a canvas like Van Gogh back in the day. Terrific array of stroke play there just to find the gaps.
Simple single there from the very next ball. 14 runs have come off this over so far. This is, he takes 1 over.
Yes, and in fact, I think this could work into their favour. A very expensive over might get Tony Coles off, which will benefit the batting sides. Before this over seemed very tight, seemed like might cause a few problems. Although a play and a miss there from Fred Gold finishes the over.
On my comparison chart, that's moved them miles ahead of the yellows there. With wickets in hand as Ben continues into his 5th over. Jamie on strike defends the first ball. If you let me continue with that. So after 16 overs, the Blues are 77 for 1. The yellows were 69 for 3. So not only wickets in hand and now above, they've just overtaken. They're looking quite strong here.
Almost certainly. And I said it once, I said it again, wickets in hand. These little fancy 20s that Ben's team were playing are not going to win them games. And Chamberlain now looking to build, currently on 35, will look to hit his half century and then build on from there.
Interesting start to this over from Ben though. Playing a missed second ball, a lead on the third ball, all of them back for length, all of them hanging around the off stump line as we see the 4th ball being bowled. He's pitched it up, he's hit him on the pads. There's a massive shout. Umpire is not interested, must have been going down the leg side. That must have been close, Chris.
Very close. I think you're right, they're just going down the leg side. But I don't think anyone would have blamed umpire Druce if he'd have given that one out.
Umpire Druce indeed was not interested in that one. This next ball was defended. This has been a fascinating over. Those first 3 balls were definitely good balls by Ben. Set him up nicely for the full and straight one. Didn't quite get his line right. 5th ball, good ball defended. And then a leave with the outswinger. What an over that was. Maiden as well. 77 for 1 off 17.
Indeed, a lot of leaves there from Chamberlain. Any other batsman perhaps would have looked to swing at all of those. But the experience of Chamberlain looking to just play the patient game and look for the bad ball.
Big shot. First ball of Hoskins over. Goes for 4. Again, what you were saying 2 overs ago. Get the 4 early on to lose the pressure for the rest of the over. These two starting to look very, very comfortable. They've moved way past 50-run partnership, I believe, with that. No, do apologise. I've jinxed it again. They're on 48 for the partnership. They probably now won't make it.
And again, change of bowler, but same result. Another terrific shot through the point boundary. Swiped for 4 by Charlie Fred Gold.
Charlie's moved to 27 from what is now 30 balls after that last dot ball where he played and missed it one. Jamie's on 35 from 47. Hoskins into for his 3rd ball. And a big slog across the line by Charlie. Looks like a dot.
Indeed, just hit a little bit too well. Goes straight to the man at deep mid-wicket. Sometimes you can be too good when batting, of course.
Yeah, he just needed to, well, he got it. It was just a hoik across the line there. Hopefully, for the blue team, that Charlie could settle down. But Hoskins, it's an interesting start. I know he got 4 of the first ball. You can call that a loosener if you want. It's been okay since then. That's a good ball coming up. I thought it was an excellent ball where Charlie plays it very, very well. Single into mid-wicket.
Indeed, and just dabbled again to deep mid-wicket. Perhaps got a little bit lucky, a little bit too full there. I did wonder whether they might try a sweep shot.
It was a sweep try and play by Jamie. To no avail, but almost took his leg stump out in the process. 82 for 1 off 18.
Indeed, got to be careful of the rough patches out there outside of leg stump. It can make him look an absolute fool, and nearly saw it there. Indeed. But he survived.
6 over. Short and wide first ball again. This time Charlie doesn't play it through point, but plays it through 3rd man for a comfortable boundary.
Indeed, with risk brings rewards, and Ben's team looking to cut out that dab down to 3rd man that they seem to like so much, but just over the top for 4, and that brings up the 50 partnership, BC.
an excellent 50 partnership as well between JC and Charlie Fregler. I will say, as we see another single taken, that partnership was in 61 balls, exactly the same as when Tony and Sydney were batting. In the first innings, they took 61 balls for their 50 as well.
Indeed, but that 50 came much later on in the innings and for much more wickets. This seems to be the crucial part of the story, wickets in hand.
There's some wickets in hand, I think around the 20 over mark. They want to be up near the 100 now. Can do it, Ben? Ball straight, placed quite well.
Nice little dab into mid-wicket there, but no run.
Excellent shot there from Jamie, gives him enough width there, and he goes for 4 3-point.
Well, terrific shot again, and that point boundary open once again. They keep encouraging them to play through it, and they keep on feeding themselves off it. All the hard work to recover the over from Ben Coles undone with a moment of brilliance from Jamie Chamberlain there, dissecting the two fielders.
I have to apologise to Ben, I think. I thought he offered him a bit too much width, but there was no width there. It was just an excellent shot, and that looks short and wide. Now 10 coming from Ben's, what is Ben's 6th over. He's been bowling really well up until now. He's only gone for less
and
than
the leave
15
there
runs.
gives the wide.
And a single from finally the last ball. Takes the score up to 93 for 1. Off of 19, I think Ben before that over has gone for as many runs in that over than he went for his previous 5, something like that. I think he went 13 in his previous 5 and he's gone for 11 in 1. So that one over can also score your figures as well as make a game. Matt Hoskins, 15.
Yep.
Yeah, might be time for Ben Coles to bring himself off and maybe prepare himself for his second and third and fourth spells. Mix up the bowling lineup. You see Hoskins in the attack.
Yep.
Bit of a change to the field, looking to cover backward a point and through extra cover.
Still managed
As
to
we
get
see.
the single through mid-wicket though, as James back in strike. The spinners for so long kept it so tight. I think he reported 6 overs for 19 runs. As a switch hit for Chamey again, goes, I don't think that's where he wanted to hit it. Ends up through long off, to long off for a single. What I was saying, what I was going on to say is I think 6 overs, 19 runs, spinners looked like they were actually winning the game for Yellows at that point without taking wickets. They took the one, I believe, as we see another single into the offside. But then that was that one over, I think it was Tony's over, he went for 14 runs and Ben brought himself on. He's been a maiden followed by 11. It's who would you turn to?
Wait.
Well, not quite familiar with the bowling lineup. I think Ben Coles needs to come off. He looked tired in that last over, and it showed with 10 runs. I would keep Hoskins on at this point. He's proved himself to be a very effective partnership breaker throughout the time in the virtual cricket league.
Single off the last ball, we've got 98 for 1 of 20, almost 100. For the comparison, 88 for 4 were the Yellows.
In answer to your question, perhaps time to bring young Harrison Abbott back. A little bit of mystery spin might be the key here, and again to take advantage of the rough patches outside the leg stump. Although it appears like they're bringing Tony Coles back. Not the move I would have made, especially after his last spell so soon.
Yeah, we had 2 overs, 2 over break by the looks of it. Sorry, they've changed ends with Tony. That's what they're trying. He was bowling previously from the other end. Chris.
Waiting.
Indeed, perhaps a change of end to take advantage of the pitch down there. Again, still not sure the logic behind it, although a dot ball there, getting Fred Gold in trouble a little bit there, a little bit cramped up.
Yep.
Oh,
There's something in the pitch down there they've seen.
2 singles coming from the first 3 balls so far this over. Charlie's on 36 from 39. Jamie's on 44 from 57. He's closing in on his 50. Be the first 50 of the game on a pitch that has been difficult to bat on until the Wilsons have shown you. So there's a bigger pull. Sounded like Bat was in first there. Maybe it hit pad first. Yeah, Bat was most of the going for. Worth a shout though. You never know what mood Billy's in.
Yeah, bat onto pad, and it depends who is the person batting usually as to whether umpire Druce is triggered. I think someone else may be Ryan Coles or something. That finger might have gone straight up.
What I will say though is we continue to
Not
see
that we're implying bias from umpire Druce, but
Wait.
oh, almost definitely a few fumbles in the field by tighter line coming up the pitch inside the circle, but they slip a little bit towards the end in the field. Perhaps because of tiredness, because of the effort needed in the early parts, who knows?
Hoskins continues. An excellent shot play by James Chamberlain. I don't think the fielder does get round to cut it off. There's a long boundary down there. I'd be surprised if they ran two. They've been there a while. Ran three even. I think it was two. James stays on strike. 47, one boundary away. There is a silly point though, oddly. And he's played it in the air. There's a big gap there. That will go all the way to 4 as Jamie brings up his 50.
Well, when you place them like that, it doesn't matter whether they go up in the air. They're all safe and they'll all go for 4 all the same. A terrific knock again from Jamie Chamberlain, following up from his century performance last week. Another terrific shot and a terrific innings.
Yes, Blues seem to be pacing this quite well. That 50 came up in 61 balls again. That seems to be a common thread now. Ken Hoskins bowls the next one faster, playing a miss. Definitely faster, Chris.
Indeed, a little bit of a mix-up there. 56 miles an hour on the speed clock. That's trying to surprise him after the 4 of his half-century, but conductor Chamberlain at the minute.
Another one. It seemed like an arm ball, 50 miles per hour, but another play and a miss. Interesting line, interesting tactic. As Jamie needs to settle down after his 50 Jubilee.
Wait.
Yeah, I think his head's still in the clouds. Just needs to, as you say, knuckle back down and grind it. Play the same way he has all innings. Although again, another risky shot, just going in front of Silly Point. Fortunately, down and hit hard. Oh, this is what I was just saying, Chamberlain.
Oh, and he's just been given out. Jamie just talking about it. What has he done?
Well, he's had a mare and he was struggling to pick Hoskins that entire over, and finally the walls have come crashing down on the defences of Jamie Chamberlain as he tries a straight block there and it goes through the gate and crashes into the stumps. A good knock, very solid, 51 or 65 balls, but you can't help thinking whether that had the makings of something more.
Captain comes out to bat for the first time. 107 for 2 after that wicket has fallen. It was a good partnership.
Right, now I am very curious to see what young Smith will do here for obvious reasons.
74-run partnership that between Jamie and Charlie. Would like to add that's the first time Jamie's out in this tournament, finally giving him an average. Stands on strike, first ball, hits it straight to point. They'll get fielding again, by the way. So obviously you and Dan have this competition now who's going to score the most runs. Dan didn't bat in the first game, so this is his first opportunity to get on the scoreboard. How many runs did you score in the first game, Chris?
I think it was something like 34, which for a wicket-keeper batsman, I wouldn't say it's too bad a stint, but we'll see what young Dan Smith can do from here.
I reckon he will start putting himself up the orders, giving him more chance to score more runs after this challenge has been set out.
Well, after your innings, almost definitely.
A single taken down the ground to get Dan off strike. Charlie is still there, 37 from 41. see Tony Cole's 5th over this is.
Indeed, been a tighter spell since he came back from Coles, just 2 coming from this over so far.
That'll be the 3rd single coming from it. It is very tight. Last ball, the over going to Dan. The dot ball would be an excellent finish to this little over here from Tony. And again, like you said, it's come back from. He's taking a single down the ground. 4 coming from it. It's 111. Someone stand on one leg for 2 off 23.
Good over the 4 coming from that. I think Dan's team just looking to regroup after the loss of their one of their talismanic batsmen, Jamie Chamberlain. Again, they'll be happy with this position at the minute, even with the loss of the wicket. Halfway through, plenty of wickets in hand and in a stronger position, I would say, than Ben's team at this point.
Charlie Hoykin, another one, as Matt Hoskins continues. He gets a single for his trouble. This is Matt's 6th over. Again, he's bowling really well. He's hovering around 4 and over. When I get the opportunity, I'll give everyone a like who's starting to 4 from 5. He's starting positively. I'll give you a like. Space there on the mid wicket, just pops it down. Charlie moving into the 40s, 40 from 45. Dan back on strike for the last couple of balls of the over. 4 from 5 so far. See how he does. And plays it down the ground for a comfortable single.
Very patient job, very well placed there by the batsman Smith. Just looking to tick along and hold this innings together. 5 runs
and then
off
the big shots come out of the bag. Sorry, Chris. Over mid wicket, square leg even for 6. What was a good over turned expensive in the end. 121 for 2 to give the comparison as promised. The Yellows were 110 for 5 at the same stage, 24 overs. Wickets are needed here for the Yellows.
Well, when Pinky meets Brain, a complete variation of styles there. Smith just looking to anchor the innings with some nudges and let the very much in and very in form Charlie Threadgold hit a massive 6 there through the leg side. A terrific shot, and as you say, completely ruining the figures of
first ball of
Hoskins
the next over.
there.
Tony Cole's continuing to his 6th. And it kind of was edged into the keeper's pads by the looks of it. As it bounces into the floor, could you say that's a lucky escape there from Dan?
Yep.
As we see the single taken, Charlie's now on strike. 4 away from his 50. Can he match Jamie and get to his 50? Dot ball to point. 23 for 2.
Yeah, a slightly faster delivery there from Cole, was looking to surprise him. We all know him in the cricket, the special delivery of any spinner is the fastest straight one. And a lovely nudge there into the gap for the single.
Switch hit from Mr. Smith over the top of the cover fielder. Don't think he's going to get round in time. It's 4 runs.
I wondered when we'd see something a little more exotic from Smith, and that was straight out of Bermuda. A terrific shot over the top and bouncing to the boundary, just short for 4. Terrific shot. And that certainly gets his innings speeding straight along in 5th gear now.
How's he going to follow up the switch hit for 4 off the last ball of the over as Tony comes into bowl? It's a good ball, it's a dot. It goes straight to the cover field. They look to attempt to run, maybe a quick run out, but nothing happening in the end. 127 for 2 off 25.
Good fielding there to cut the single off, and that brings us to the end of the over.
Hoskins continuing to his 7th over. And first ball gets hit for a single from Charlie, moves him on to 48 from 49. He's edging closer to the 50.
Yeah, perhaps learning the lessons of Chamberlain, just looking to slowly get there and eliminate all thoughts out of his head to avoid ending up with the same fate.
See a play and a miss by Dan there. He's coming on 10 from 11. Matt again continuing to bowl, even though every now and again he does leak that boundary, but he is bowling really well. Can he get another wicket as it's driven down the ground for, surely will be just a single.
Yes, well placed there into the gap for the single. And again, Smith looking to just anchor the innings down almost in a Joe Root-like capacity to avoid the similar collapse that Ben's team fell in the first innings. As we just see a shot down to fine leg for the single, keeping the over ticking along. 3 coming from the over, with Smith on strike 11 from 12 balls. Hoskins coming a little bit wider here with the delivery, giving enough space for this
As we go
single,
to
and they'll
the
run a couple here.
Last ball of the over, Charlie on 49, and they run a single. Charlie bringing up his 50. 5 coming from the over again. After 51 balls, a very quick 50, but almost a run a ball. Some excellent batting here from Charlie. He's been promoted up to number 3 today.
And I think he's proved his worth with a fine 50. We'll see whether he stays there next game. But I think he's more than played his part and more than justified why his captain Dan Smith has put him there. A fine shot, needling and nudging all around. Not a lot of shots straight.
Change of bowling here. We're going for Lewis Coles, first over of the game. And it's a dot ball. Going to the medium fast bowler of Lewis.
An interesting choice. Well, the batsmen were settled with the spinners, so a drastic change was needed. I think this is a good call from Ben Coles. Try and extract some movement off the seam.
2 dot balls to start the over. Charlie just got to his 50. Probably needs to calm down again. We saw what happened to do to Jamie earlier. He didn't get past didn't score any more runs after celebrating his 50. Lewis comes in, Fred Gold on strike. It's on the stumps, it's driven down the ground. It's an excellent shot, cut off for a single.
Indeed, and we see now Charlie looking to play a little bit more straighter to the seam bowler. Perhaps a little bit less move.
Bit of space straight though, as he gets played straight back down the ground by Dan to run what in the end was a comfortable 2. Still only 3 runs from this Coles over so far with 2 balls left. Dan Smith is on strike as he takes a single down to the extra cover boundary. At the end of the previous over, we did get a message back from the guys running the water out to the batsman that Danny's going to be straight out. If he gets out, he's going to be straight into the commentary booth and having an interview, ladies and gentlemen. So let's hope he gets out so we can have an interview with their skipper. Let him see what he makes. It's 138 to 27.
Well, no doubt, I'm looking forward to that after his comments last time, but it'd be interesting to see his thoughts at this stage. And as I say, from my point of view, a very comfortable position at the minute. We'll see whether he sees it the same way. I think they've played the pitch very well and played the spin very respectfully.
They play very well. So we have a change of bowling. John Hill, left arm fast, coming round the wicket to the set batsman Charlie. Take a single off the first ball to point. Dan not quite settled yet, but going out and run a ball. What you've just said, the actual run rate of the team so far for 27 overs is 5.1. They need 5.1 for the rest of the innings. As we see a cut off the back foot, great shot through backward point for 4.
Yeah, and we'll remember that the run rate at one point was down below 4. They're starting to accelerate and look very comfortable. As you said earlier in the innings, Beefy, looking very much full of fear. And that's another terrific swipe from Smith through the gap for 4 runs.
I must admit that looked like a good ball, and the batsman did all the hard work and made it look easy. So it's an excellent shot. He's moved his confidence bar to green, follows it up with a good response onto the stumps, dot to mid-wicket.
Indeed, now he's settled, are we going to see a change in the pace of innings, or is he going to approach it in the same methodical way he has so far, do you reckon, Beefy?
Wait there.
I think these two are now very much set. They're going along at a run of ball. Scores up to 143 for 2. It's a nice little partnership in a very small amount of time. Short and wide, short and not that wide again. Plays it for a single. 6 coming from the over. It's a no ball. 7 coming from the over. The next ball is a no. Sorry, here's a free hit. It was bowling at 92 miles per hour. Bit of extra effort there, only just over the line. So what can Charlie do with the free hit? Stay with me now as John comes steaming in for the free hit. Can't change the field. It's into the pitch. Swiped and it's cut away. There's a fielder there though who cut that off for a single. 8 so far from the 5 balls John's bowled. 1 to come. Dan Smith now on strike. Pitched it short and it's in the air. He's cut it well though. He's completely missed the guy. That was like a deep girly position for 4. 12 runs have come from that over. That's the 150 up for the blue team. 150 for 2 off 28. Chris, explain what's going on here.
All you're seeing is a towels in. That's all I have to say. Just another 50 needed from remaining 12 overs, and Dan's team seem in a very comfortable position with both batsmen set as well. And of course, you remember, plenty of wickets in hand. This is not a luxury that Ben's team had at this point.
Oh, it's short into the body. Charlie swivels on it. Doesn't get all of it, but it's enough to do 1 bounce and 4.
Well, terrific technique, and you see the difference in the technique of the 2 teams. Charlie saw that much earlier. He was able to get his body in a much better position and swivels that nicely through square leg for 4 runs. Check, no. Fine leg for 4 runs. A terrific shot.
Lewis replies. Again, it's slightly short. This time a bit further outside off stump. Gets a single down to 3rd man. I'm surprised, Chris, that they the spin has got the wickets. For Hoskins, he's got both the 2 wickets so far. As Lewis continues to plays it down the ground for 1.
I'm just going to have to pop off for a second, Beefy, and I'll be back with you shortly.
Okay. 6 so far coming from the first 3 balls of Lewis's 2nd over. A little bit pricey at the moment. Did really well last week. As Lewis plays into bowl. Short. And the keeper catches it. Charlie has finally lost his wicket. 59 from 60 balls. That was turned into an excellent partnership there. Mike Thompson catches it. Bowled at Lewis Coles. Excellent knock there by Charlie coming in at number 3. Came in early on. 33 for 1 after 8 overs. He leaves with a score of 156 for 3. Must say, excellent partnership between Dan and Charlie of 49 runs. As the new batsman is Anthony Pagola at number 5. 2 balls left in the over. What is going to happen here as Coles comes into Pagola? Wide, a little bit full, takes a single first ball. Having a bit of a gimme first up. Excellent work behind the stump for Mike. Excellent bowling to get the edge. Dan's on 25 from 21, faces the last ball of this Lewis over. And cuts it for a single behind point. 8 runs coming for it, but they have got the wicket. They need to carry on taking wickets, this yellow team now. 158 for 3 off 29. the Yellows at this time was 136 for 7. The Yellows didn't lose any more wickets, but are the Blues in danger here? I don't know, as Fagoda faces the second ball to John. And he drives it to the third man boundary, lets the off the face of the bat. 2 from 2 so far. It's John Hill's 5th over, 30th over of the game. Need around about 4 and over from here, I believe. And he plays in the air, comfortably over square leg, and the guy on the boundary cannot stop it. As Dan Smith gets a 4, it goes all the way. Nothing wrong with the ball. Batsman using all the pace of the ball just to make sure it goes over the top of the guy at square leg. The guy at the fine leg boundary can't get around in time, and it goes for 4 runs. 43 needed off 64. John's coming in, Smith on 29. And another single moves the score to 30 from 24. He's scoring at a very good rate here, Dan. Yellows haven't turned to spin, back to spin yet. Still got Tony in the locker with 2 overs left to go as John continues.
Waiting.
It's a dot ball. Tony's bowled 6, Matt Hoskins has bowled 7, Harrison's bowled 4. There's plenty of overs there from the spin bowlers, but John's bowl is 5th coming in. And it's played a miss. Goes through. Nice ball over. 6 already coming from it. Expect the batsman to be comfortable with this. A single from the last ball from Fagoda. Takes the score 3 from 5. Scores 164 for 3 off of 30. 41 needed off of 60 balls. The required run rate is 4.1. Blues have got themselves into a terrific position there. Lewis continues. Dot ball from the first ball of what is his 3rd over, the 31st of the match. The Blues are very comfortable, 7 wickets in hand. Need for just a tad over 4 and over. Gola on strike, holds him to bowl.
Yep.
Single taken down the ground. Thought about 2 for a second, thought it was not worth the risk. Runs are on the board, in a comfortable position. Smith's now on strike. Going along nicely, 30 from 24. Coles comes steaming in.
Wait.
And it's respected as a very good ball bowled. Slight field change, got mid wicket, mid on, long off. Extra cover, deep point, Gurley, 3rd man. Nice slip by the looks of it. As the ball is short, wide, and put away for 4. Excellent shot back from Dan, takes the score to 34 from 26 balls. As we see a replay. Just a little bit too short, a little bit wide, and Dan's all over this like a flash. There's a guy there on the like a deep front point on the boundary. But there's no chance he's going to get anywhere near that as it rockets away for 4. How's Lewis going to respond? Looked very wide. The umpire does agree with me as he's given a wide ball.
Yep.
The last ball is defended, but it goes into space, so they take a comfortable one. So there's one more ball after this. 7 coming from this over so far. The Yellows need wickets. That's the they need to take these 7 wickets. All 7 of them somehow. Blues are definitely favourites from this position.
Waiting.
Last ball's a dot. Only 7 coming from it anyway. I say only 7. There's a couple of dot balls. And then 71 for 4, 31. Various lengths being bowled there. John Hill's going to continue from the upper end, 6th over. He bowls.
Yep.
Pitches it up, and Smith plays it into the space at long on, no fielder there. As they run 3 in the end. Excellent run in there from the Blues. Or did they return? Three runs from the first ball when you don't even need 4 and over. Makes life comfortable at the other end for Gola.
Wait there.
He drives the first ball straight back to the fielder. Goes on 4 from his 9 balls now. Moving on to 38 from 28. Backing himself for a little 50 cameo. John continues around the wicket to Fagola.
Yep.
He plays it into the vacant mid-wicket area. The guy for the boundary comes in to cut it off for 1. 4 runs already from this over. 89.4 is still bowling at a very good pace here, John. He just can't seem to get the breakthrough. Took 3 wickets last week, none so far this week.
Yep.
Short into the pitch. I thought the mid-wicket guy was going to cut that off while the strike batsman was on his heels, but they end up getting a comfortable single as it misses the guy at mid-wicket. Interesting field placements here. A lot of guys out on the offside, a lot of guys in the cover mid-off either.
Yep.
As it's then driven into the leg side as they run comfortable too. The team looks a little bit tired now. Their fielding is superb early on, but wickets have been hard to come by. John comes into bowl's last over. Ball with him. That's an edge. He finally gets the breakthrough. The goal goes for 7. John Hill gets the wicket. Two runs been between Fagola and Smith here, but it's an excellent ball by John that hangs it out. Side off stump, tries to drive, excellent wicket keeping. And goes for 7 off these 11 balls, I believe. The new batsman, he's batting at number 6, it's Chris Jacinel. His first time batting. Harrison's been brought into the attack. He's got 4 overs left to bowl. There's 4 overs left at this end. Is that a coincidence? So we're going to try and bowl him out at this end. Gives him 7 8 4. Oh, he's paddle shot it for 6. Over the fine leg. How has he managed to get that ball over there? What a shot. Nothing wrong with the ball. Maybe a tad short, but what a shot over his shoulder. Scoop shot, really. Scoop shot off a leg spinner. That's fantastic. His figures were winning. He really went for 17 from his first 4 balls. And then goes for 6 off his next 1. It's just incredible how this game can change on his head. Dan's now moved his score up to 46 from 31 balls. Krish to face his first ball. Funky field setups here. 5 out of the field, but the 4 in are quite in unique places. He managed to find a gap with the first ball for a single. Dan's blue 11 here looking relatively comfortable. Is Dan going to get his 50? I think it's the only questionable thing. I say questionable. It looks nailed on to get a 50 now. Harrison won't like him to do that. As he looks like a wrong end. Harrison's been learning some new tricks in the off-season. We did see it last week. He would love to get the scalp of Big Dan. Big H and Big Dan. Here we go. Pitches up on the stumps. Oh, as he played it across the line. Looked like he was in trouble, but ended up playing it well and gets a single down to deep square leg. That's this funky field. They've got like shortish mid-wicket, short mid-off. They've got cover, square leg, everyone else on the boundary. On stumps, and that's the guy at square leg. Krish wants to get out of the other end, he doesn't like it. 9 coming from the overhead. 187 for 4 off 33. Dan said no, because I think he wants his 50 now. He was on 47 runs from 33 balls. It's a quick 50 if he does get there. John's going to continue from the other end, his 7th over. As it comes steaming in, is this the ball where Dan reaches his 50?
Waiting.
Straight down the ground. Oh, he knocks the middle stump out. I haven't seen the middle stump dislodged too many times today, except when I batted. And an excellent shot goes for no runs. John for his 2nd ball of the over.
Yeah.
That's a better placement as he takes the single. Dan moving on to 48. Can Krish do it the other end? Krish could could spoil the party here, score 13, was it 14 quick runs. Target's 205. Short, wide, doesn't quite get enough of it. 2 goes to the boundary, but gets a single to third man. Dan back on strike. As I'm sure Dan knows what he's on. Is he going to be able to hold his nerve enough to get to his half century? Captain leading by example here. Short, wide, and it's in the air. This could go all the way. Is he going to get round in time? He gets his 50 as it goes for 4. Of 36 balls in the context of the game, that is rapid. Excellent strike rate, 150 strike rate as well.
What have I missed? He's suddenly accelerated to 50.
And he's accelerated without playing too many shots. He did scoop Harrison for 6 in the last over. Harrison's first ball after returning into the attack. John's coming in to just reach 50. A lot of batsmen who get to 50 and then get out. Is he going to buck the curve? I think other than Sydney ended up. Sydney didn't get to 50 in the end. Charlie's got the highest score of the game, 59 at the moment. John comes in, he's already gone for 7 in this over. They need wickets if they've got any chance of getting a result from this game. The last one we've got is 194 for 4 of 34 overs. And Chris, most importantly, in 6 overs, they need 11 runs to win.
Well, I don't know what you want me to say. Way I see it, game over. I mean, I've seen crazier things happen, you know, pigs flying over the skyline. I've seen magical unicorns. But this would top the lot if Ben's team can suddenly claw out to win from here. And on this display, you have to say, Dan's team firm favourites in this virtual cricket league. They've set the marker.
I'll have to agree with you after the 2 excellent performances and running down what we believe to be good totals. Harrison, he bowled actually quite well in his first over despite going for the 6 on the first ball. Now facing Krish on the stumps and dot ball to square leg. I think the Yellows on the whole have actually bowled relatively well today. I think the Blues have just batted just a little bit better. As Harrison bowls on the stumps. Oh! That's worth a shout. And he's given it. Bit of a delayed reaction there by everybody. So he's given him LBW 2 from 6 balls, I believe. And there is hope for this little man bowling.
You see the replay of this. And now umpire Druce is known for triggering LBWs. Haven't yet seen the replay, but you have to say deserved wicket for Harrison Abbott for the tireless slog he's had to endure this innings.
The new batsman's Brendan, he plays and misses at the next shot. Number 7, surely they should get Ryan up into the attack after he's 99 right out next week, but Dan's insistent on him going down the order, like he sports in that after he finishes batting. That LBW, there seems to be, I heard an appeal, but it's very half-hearted. And the next thing I know, the umpire's raising his finger suddenly.
I know, it'd be interesting to go back and have a look at that. In fact, let me just glance back briefly. Right, I haven't got anything available, but you do have to wonder what goes in the mind of umpire Druce sometimes. But umpire's word is law. Such was the word many centuries ago.
199 for 5 off 35. There's 6 runs required as Matt Hoskins gets brought in. I think on response to the fact that a spinner took the last wicket. He's going to bowl. This will be his last over regardless. He's bowling around the wicket, which is not his usual tack. He bowled most of his overs from over the wicket. Funky field to the number 7 batsman here. He hasn't batted yet. He's got a very short. What can I say? Is that very short mid-on, basically, as a slip at this stage. Takes the single down to the point.
Very odd to have the slip in, especially considering, well, produces the googly there. That's clearly what the slip is there for. That odd ball each over, but as you say, very odd field.
going back over the wicket to Dan Smith, obviously the set batsman. And he's playing a massive shot. It's in the air. Is it going to carry? I think it is. It's gone massive. 6. And that, with that, is one way to finish a game of cricket. Blues win by 5 wickets.
What a shot.
The finish is on 60 runs from 39. Dan Smith, excellent knockback.
Absolutely remarkable. And for me, man of the match, Dan Smith, absolutely tremendous knock. Put the game beyond all reasonable doubt. And a tremendous performance by Dan's Blue 11 to chase that down with 5 wickets in hand.
Well, it was a very good contest in the end. I believe partnerships was the key for the Blues innings. They created quite a few partnerships. As he's made his way into the commentary box, as promised, is Dan Smith. Let me just get mic'd up. Dan, now you're mic'd up. How are we doing after that knock?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Felt comfortable. What was it, 60 in the end?
60 from 39.
Oh, that's all right. It's double the amount that Chris got. We're all happy.
I'm sure Chris will have his response very shortly to you. So, what contributed to your game, to your win, do you believe, today?
It's a great setup from yourself and JC. Then Charlie came in, did a bit of business for me as well. I came in a really balanced position, didn't have to really try too hard to drag the game out of the depths, and yeah, just coasted home with a bit of assistance from everyone.
I believe from where I'm looking from up here, the yellow spinners actually did bowl quite well, but you waited, and you and Jamie and Charlie in particular played them extremely well. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter what people bowl. It's just like you can take the singles everywhere. Ben was quite clever. He put people back because he knows that my natural game's a bit more expansive, but he had men on the boundary. But yeah, we just took the singles, and then when there was a bad ball that the spinners bowled, we put it away.
Oh, that after that result, it has put you top of the table, I believe, with 4 points. And one team left to play, Greg's Reds. Will you be watching tomorrow's game to pick up any pointers?
Well, tomorrow's game is really important for us because it sort of sets up whether or not we make it to the final with a game to play. We might try and experiment with a few things if we're already qualified, see how it goes. But it would be nice to go through with 3 wins. So, you know what? We're just a team here to have fun. To be honest, we're just enjoying our cricket, and that's coming through in the way we play.
Oh, thank you very much. We can all see that you're enjoying your cricket. There seems to be a great atmosphere between the Blues. There's a lot of chat on the lines that we're getting from some of your players in the week. Particularly today, last week was Coles, and today with Gola, Searle and Lovey. So yeah, you created a good spirit there. So well done. Congratulations on your win today, and congratulations on player of the match.
Oh yeah, thank you. I think that's a bit much giving me that, to be honest. It was a cracking team performance, but yeah, got to give Ben's team a nod. Ben's Yellows played really well. We knocked off 213 inside 35 overs last week, so to have taken us into the final 5 overs is really impressive. Well done.
Can I get your thoughts while you're on the line? Have you, don't tell me your team, but have you applied to Chris regarding your nominations for teams of the decade?
Yeah, I have. I've not really spent any time in the first team, so I couldn't really give any bearing on that, but I've sent a few through from the second team, which I've played in and captained, so happy enough to throw in a few nominations for that.
For those that are watching, if you're in touch with Chris Love and you want to nominate your first 11 team of the decade, or your second 11 team of the decade, or even both, please do send them through to Chris. If you haven't got his number, give us a message and we'll pass on the details, or you send it to somebody else who can pass it on to Chris. But keen that poll's going to be starting very soon. Be interesting to see the outcome. Dan, congratulations today. Thank you for joining us on the line, and I'll speak to you in the week, I'm sure.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Remember, spinners aren't needed. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye. Chris, Chris, hello.
Hello. Well, it was nice of Dan there to show us the joys of National League baseball there. But even a clock is right twice a day, and Dan, in this case, it paid off, and a good result for him and for the team in the end, knocking that off with just under 5 overs to spare.
I think that a lot of the decisions that were made today went his way, whether Jason early on with the 2 wickets, Pagola first over wicket, Dan got a wicket with his second or third over where you thought, bring him off. A lot of things went really well. It was only the last, say, 10 overs, I think, of the Yellows innings which really got going with the 50 partnerships in Sydney and Tony. I thought Sydney really got back into a and it did show it was a competitive score, but Jamie, Charlie and Dan, they put away anything that was half bad today.
Yeah, and for me, we give all praise to Dan Smith, but for me, Chamberlain is the glue of this team. Played the opening spells incredibly well, low risk, but yet keeps the score ticking along just with superior technique and the ability to hit and find the gaps.
I think it's looking at the two teams though, the Blues played with 2 recognised openers today that have played together quite a lot, in myself and Jamie, where the Yellows opening partnership is of Hobson and Patel. They normally bat at 3 or 4. Do you reckon that made a big difference? They did get some sort of they went after, was it 21 runs, then both they lost his wicket. Do you reckon that made a difference?
So is that Hobson and
Hobson and Drew opened the batting for the Yellows. Do you reckon a more recognised opener is required for the Yellow team?
I wouldn't say so. I think it's a nice mix of aggression and solid technique. It didn't come off today, but we've seen in previous innings and throughout the years that if you can get off to a quick start, you can really put the bowling team on the back foot and then take the game from there, especially once the ball's been battered to smithereens.
So I think my reflection on the game would be the Yellows bowled really well. I did honestly think the Yellows bowled really well. Hoskins was only expensive in 1 over. He bowled 8 overs for 43. There was only 1 expensive over in there, and by then the Blues were comfortably going along. Harrison bowled well, Tony bowled well.
I would agree. The bowling in general has been tremendous. The story of this is the difference in technique and the ability to build partnerships. Ben's team went along with fancy 20s and fancy 30s, and as we said many times this game, that will not win you many matches. Dan's team with 3 people hitting half centuries, absolutely tremendous display, and you see the end result.
Excellent display batting net from Blues. Lost a few wickets towards the end, but still been comfortable winners by 5 wickets. But Chris is going to change tack as the last thing we're going to talk about. Team of the decade. You've heard me talk about it 2 or 3 times today. Have you responded to Chris's message?
Not yet, and it's a very tricky one for me to say because I haven't seen many teams in my time, and I'm sure many of the older people will remark of the times back in the noughties when such and such used to slog sweep a bowler over the oak tree for 6.
It's always going to be, it's always going to be a hard one. I believe I was talking to one of the other players early in the week that joined around the same time as I did, and actually there's only a handful of players that actually played in that 2010 season that's still around the club. So you've got Steve O, JC, myself, Mike G, Tim, Hobson, Jacko, Ollie. But there is a number of players that can use that experience of those years. But with yourself, Chris, your first game was 2017, if my memory serves me correctly. So you've played 3 full seasons for the club. So in your time, you can comfortably give what you believe is your favourite 11. Based on what you've seen, and everyone else I believe should do exactly the same. Is that it's just a nomination, but it's important that Chris gets your nominations, because if there is a tie, the Twitter poll feed will be brilliant. What I implore everyone to do is, if you haven't already done so, go and follow us at Mears Ashby CC, and turn on your notifications though. Press that bell button on our page, because then your phone will notify you every time that the Twitter team led by Mr. Love puts a tweet out there. So as soon as that poll comes up, you'll be ready to make your vote, and it's important that we get everyone's vote, both new and old.
Indeed. For me, if you want my nomination from what I've seen, it'd be the first team from 2 seasons ago. Of course, everyone will have a different opinion.
Everyone would have. Once you've obviously collated yours, Chris, send them off to Mr. Love. Your 1 to 11. I'll be honest, my 11 has got players that I think one player in one of my teams played his first game in 2018. There's a player in there that played his last game for us in something like 2011, 2012. So, you know, they had one good season, but they made a difference, and it's just how they are. They played a lot. It's about I've chosen a mix of people that were game wingers and regularly won games for that team, to people that played a lot of games and often contributed towards a winning cause. I found it actually very difficult. I've sat there looking at my team for about 3 days, and I've changed it about 3 times, so I don't look at it again. I think I should just send it through. Chris will hopefully Chris will put on the chat in the next couple of days when the deadline is. But we do need more nominations. Just a nomination, really.
Indeed, get them in.
So, Chris, big game tomorrow, 2 p.m. start. It is a big game because it's the Greens and the Reds, and the Greens suffered a quite heavy defeat last week. Reds look strong and only just lost out to the Yellows, and you see it's another Yellows lost today. Do you reckon the Reds could bounce back?
Well, I've made my opinions about the Reds' leadership well known, and I'm very surprised to see Gregory still in charge of the team after some questionable decisions with his bowling lineup and his fielding placements last week. On paper, you would say they would probably be the favourites, although the Greens will be licking their wounds from that, frankly, humiliating defeat at the hand of Dan's team. We'll learn many lessons from that. So I reckon a sneaky victory for them tomorrow.
Yeah, you're the Greens. I've looked at the two teams and their provisional lineups at the moment myself as well, and they haven't been confirmed, so I don't wish to share them with anyone at the moment. But it does look like that we're going to be in for a very even contest, much like today. Hopefully we see wickets, but also hopefully we see some runs. My favourite going into the game, I don't know. I think it's that close to call, but I really did like the Reds, how they played last week. I think they were just unlucky. It was the last over decider. It was one batsman that won the game for Yellows. I think the teams were very evenly matched on the whole. So I'm going to back the Greens to the Reds, sorry, to win. So you believe the Greens, I believe the Reds. So it'll be interesting tomorrow to watch the game if you're going to join me.
Indeed, I'll be around for it, and we hope you'll be around as well.
Anyway,
on that note,
we're both signing off. Have a good day, everyone.
bye for now.
Goodbye.